Star Wars nerds, and welcome to Unlimited Content, the podcast where two brothers talk about all of Star Wars film and TV in chronological order on the internet as an excuse to hang out more. We're your hosts, Sam and Jack, and this week we're talking about the Clone Wars Season 5, Episodes 2 and 3, A War on Two Fronts, and Frontrunners. Jack Ford.
Sam!
How are you?
We're back.
We're back.
It's our triumphant return to Unlimited Content. Yep. For listeners at home, it didn't seem like there's any, time difference.
It's probably been like a month since we've recorded.
It's been like a month since we've recorded. So for us, it's our grand return. It's very exciting.
Truly.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been just had unlimited amounts of things to do.
I know.
And to deal with in our lives.
You know what has stacked up in our absence?
Oh no.
Bills.
Oh no. Oh no.
So many bills. Jack, how will we retain financial solvency in these trying times?
Let me find. Hold on. I need to make some calls. Hold on. Boop, 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 boop. Hello, sponsors. Sponsor watch. Can you please?
Sponsor watch.
Can we have a sponsor?
It's like Death Watch, but for sponsors.
Oh no. Sponsor boys. Can you give me you have one. You have okay, cool. Thank you very much. We're recording right now. Can you get it?
Oh man.
That within 10 seconds would be great.
Wow.
You can? Okay, excellent. Awesome, thank you very much. Thank you to our secondary sponsor boys, for getting us a sponsor for this episode.
Not the Death Watch spinoff.
Not Sponsor Watch.
Not Sponsor Watch. Oh.
No, not that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do fortunately have a sponsor to keep us afloat for at least the next 5 minutes.
Sweet.
This week's episode of Unlimited Content is brought to you by Daylight Savings Time, which takes an hour of sleep away from you in the spring, only to give it back to you in the fall.
Yes, I did get extra sleep today. It was nice.
Yeah, we got a single hour of extra sleep last night because we fell back, and it was nice.
Yep.
I slept a solid 8.5 hours last night.
I slept
which
less
is more
than
than
that.
I've slept in forever. Well,
I got 8 hours a couple nights ago. That felt nice, but I was extra tired that day. I don't know. Have you ever my sleep schedule sucks. Have you ever gotten the right amount of sleep that you're on paper supposed to get, and then are more tired the next day? Because that's what happened to me.
I feel I have had that before. I think that my understanding of it, my rudimentary understanding as a non-scientist, is that a lot of how kind of well rested you feel when you wake up has to do with, there's different things impacting the quality of your sleep, like how restless was your sleep, or how did you eat or exercise the day before, or whatever. All sorts of different factors can affect the quality of your sleep. So the amount of sleep is important, but that's the number one thing. But then below that is the quality of it. And I've also heard that if you wake up in the middle of a sleep cycle as opposed to waking up naturally at the end of a sleep cycle, then you'll feel worse and more groggy, even if you got technically enough hours, So
Yes.
Gracie is currently texting the sibling group chat being hey, I think I have access to the group call. I could jump in. If she's threatening to randomly guest star on our podcast.
Yep. Speaking of terrorism in today's episode.
Wow. Gracie's a terrorist. Okay. Sure, Sam. Yeah. Hold on. We're this isn't always planned. No, what? No, that was I didn't. Okay, hold on. Sam just texted the group chat saying Jack just called you a terrorist. No, I didn't.
That's what I heard.
Slander, lies.
Jack, how?
Oh, you're here.
That was Sam. Sam said you were a terrorist. He compared you to a terrorist, and I said, "What? Did you just call Gracie a terrorist?" And then Sam said, proof. "Jack just called you a terrorist."
You have no proof.
We're recording this twice. We have a backup. What are you talking about? Hi, Gracie. My non-terrorist sister.
Thank you for calling me not a terrorist.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah. Oh my God. See, it's him. It's all him.
Are you sure about that?
I tell you. Are you positive?
I guess I'm a surprise guest star on this episode now.
Woo!
Grace, what do you know about
How
terrorism?
do you want to be?
Generally, it's pretty bad. I'd
Is
say.
it?
I'd say terrorism.
This just in. Terrorism. Pretty bad. Can I quote you on that, Gracie? Can I quote you that you think terrorism is that your official position?
Yeah.
Your terrorism is bad? Okay.
I don't like
Interesting.
Well,
Interesting.
mean.
It's me.
It's me.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't like terrorism because the terrorists aren't nice. Got it.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
They were just more polite about it, you know?
Yeah.
They were just
Just a
You just chill
gentleman's
for a minute?
terrorism. How about that?
Terrorism is kind of mean. So I don't know if just being a little bit nicer about it would fix it. This is my hot take.
I don't think it would, but
Yeah,
I feel
don't
like
either.
terrorism is inherently not nice, so you just have to not do the terrorism.
Yeah.
Is my guess. Anyway, thank you to our sponsor, Daylight Savings Time, for sponsoring this episode of Unlimited Content. Gracie's here. Gracie, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm having dinner.
Having dinner.
What are we having for dinner?
Yeah, I'm having fried rice.
Ooh.
Just
Who
kidding.
fried the rice? Was it a shrimp? Did the shrimp fry the rice?
The shrimp did not fry the rice.
Oh.
Ultimate.
Did the chicken fry the rice?
Because it's ultimate fried rice.
Oh, like the
The
game.
ultimate fried rice.
The game of Ultimate Frisbee fried that rice. Got it.
That's
Whoa.
that's what it says on the box. It says ultimate fried rice. So
Wow.
I guess ultimate frisbee fried the rice.
All right.
Gracie, I can't see your face. You should turn on your camera so I can see your face.
Do it, you coward.
And
There's a
There
face.
she is.
There's a
Hey.
face.
my sleepy face.
EP.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Well, I guess let's continue the pod. This episode is always already off to a chaotic start. But
Indeed.
Yeah, you guys can leave you alone. I can leave you alone if you want.
no, you can hang. You can hang. You're here now.
Okay, cool.
That is true. You are here.
I am.
Terrorist.
You mounted a surprise attack on our podcast, and now you're here.
Yeah.
This is terrorism.
Hey,
Sam.
listen. The access to the voice chat was there for some reason.
Yeah, why? I don't understand that.
No.
Probably so that we could have her on the last time that we had her on. Like for the, I don't know, for the one when she was talking to us about the car blowing up, which isn't going to be in the podcast, by the way, because I lost the audio from that. So that was our 50th episode, and it's going to be very short, and it's going to end with me giving a description of all the things that happened that were in the recording that didn't make it. So I'm just going to be like, hey, yeah, also our siblings and our parents showed up, and a car blew up, and yeah, so that was...
The most action-packed podcast episode, and it's gone.
Yeah, I swear it was super action-packed and exciting. You're just gonna have to believe me.
Yep, it belongs to the ether now.
Apparently.
Yeah, unfortunately. Sam, how have you been? What were you up to? What's on your brain? What's on your cranium?
I've been working so much at my job, and I'm tired, and my feet
I
hurt,
bet.
and that's kind of been my life. So we're recording this on November 3rd, and as a mail carrier, political season is finally over. And I'm so, because I have tomorrow off, and then the day after that's the election. I am so
There's
grateful.
no mail in the election.
Well, there is mail in the election, but there's no political mail because they're done. Like
That
yeah.
makes sense.
It's like all like the
Check
political.
your mail at 7 p.m. after you voted. Oh, I guess well.
Yeah,
I should
so
have voted
all
for
of the
that Senate
all like the
candidate.
political ads and stuff, plus the ballots and things. It's been kind of a nightmare. I mean, it's good to vote by mail if that's the best way for you to vote. Do it, but it's a lot of work, and our managers don't handle stress well. They pass that on to us. So that's all I got.
I think the lesson here is that we need to fund the postal service more, and also hire
the
some more
postal
people.
service is actually self-funded. I don't know if y'all knew that. So you just need to move.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's all like postage.
Wow.
Funds the postal service.
impressive.
Yeah, I learned that when I got there. I was like, why doesn't Congress just give us more money? Like Congress doesn't give us any money. They just allow us to exist.
That's fascinating, and all right, cool, I guess.
Yeah. So if you want the postal service to continue, just keep using it, please. Do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do it.
But yeah, so I mean that's kind of been my life. I've been playing. I don't remember when we last talked if I had gotten the new Zelda game yet. I don't think I had. But
It's been a bit.
It's been a bit, and we've talked on Discord, not recording, several times since then. So it's all kind of blurring in my brain because I'm sitting in the exact same spot talking to the exact same people. There's just the Audacity app is now also open, and so is Craig, our Lord and Savior Craig.
Craig's always here.
We love Craig. He is always here for you. Craig is the is the bot that records our Discord chats.
Yeah, he's the secret co-star of every episode. He's our backup recording, audio recording device that one time. Well, it's not that Craig didn't work; is that I tried to download from him and the download didn't work, and I didn't know. And then a month passed, and I was like, "Oh, I can't get the recording anymore because the recording expired."
Oops.
So that was more my fault than anything.
Yeah.
Craig is a good boy.
Anyway, I've been playing the new Zelda game, which is fun. It is The Legend of Link. That's not actually what it's called. But if in The Legend of Zelda you play as Link, this one you play as Zelda, so it's The Legend of Link, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
that is what it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, the math is mathing on that one. But it's called Echoes of Wisdom. I think is that what it's called? That feels right.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah, it's fun. It's I like it a lot. I haven't played it in like a week and a half, just because I haven't had the time or energy, and also, I had my Switch hooked up to the projector in my room, and I wanted to plug it back into my TV, and so I did. But sometimes my TV doesn't let the audio work from my Switch, and that just makes me mad, and so I haven't been doing it. Yeah, so I've been doing that. I started watching the new Marvel show, Agatha, all along. It's not really new anymore.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, so I mean, all of like the major like character reveals at the end of the show have already been spoiled for me.
Okay.
So I mean, none of them are like, one of them's surprising, the other one's like not at all surprising. And so I'm kind of, but like I don't know how they get there or like what the story is at all. I just know that like this is coming out way after. So like one of Wanda's kids from WandaVision that she like conjured up out of like her imagination still exists, and he's one of like the main characters in the show. Character named Wiccan. And then Aubrey Plaza's character, because she's in this show. She plays. I don't know. There seems to be some at the beginning. I'm only 2 episodes in, but there's definitely some tension between Agatha and Aubrey Plaza's character. But Aubrey Plaza's character, I spoiled for myself that she is Lady Death from the Marvel Universe.
Is it the same Death that Thanos was in love with in the comics?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gracie's like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
So
in the comics, the reason Thanos wants to like kill half of the universe with the Infinity Stones is not for like some environmental, we don't have enough resources reason like it is in the MCU. It's because he wants to impress Death, and so he's going to kill half the universe just to impress Death, because he's got the hots for Death. And yeah,
it's messed up.
It is. But now it's Aubrey Plaza is Death, and gotcha. So I'm excited to see how that happens. But it's fun. I'll just say
it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, but I've heard good things. I've heard like, I feel like I heard kind of like decent things about it at first, and then now that they've gotten to like the finale, a lot of people are saying that it's really, really good. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing from people. So I'm probably gonna watch it at some point.
I haven't really watched any new Marvel stuff in a while. Just because like
other than Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
right.
But that's like kind of the exception that proves the rule. Everyone watches Deadpool. It's great. Yeah, but I don't know. Like, just Marvel hasn't been doing it since Endgame, and I tried to hang on for a couple years, and I'm like, it's not working, so I just stopped. But Agatha All Along looks really good, and it's around Halloween times, and it's spooky, and I wanted to watch it, so I'm watching it.
Excellent. Sam, have you seen the show Legion?
No.
So Legion is a it's another Marvel show, but it's not MCU. It was on FX, I want to say.
I think it's just as MCU as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, and like Agent Carter.
I think honestly it's less so.
Oh, less so? Okay.
Yeah, it's like it has no actual connection to Marvel Studios at all. This is, I think this is like a Fox thing, because it's it's an X-Men universe show, but it's only, even that's only like kind of tangentially connected to. It's kind of a standalone thing. I'm not sure if it's actually connected to anything else technically, but it's about a mutant named Legion. And anyway, the reason I bring it up is because Aubrey Plaza is a character in that with some very a really like, she's a weird like. It's been a while since I've watched it. It had a couple seasons. It was very good from what I remember. And Aubrey Plaza was like a weird like mutant demon. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. I just remember it being a really weird, freaky, cool show. Yeah. And Aubrey Plaza was like a villain in that, basically.
Cool.
Which was neat.
Nice. So, that sounds fun. Yeah. Speaking of other Marvel things, so I have not watched any of the Venom movies. They look fun. Mm-hmm. They look like watch once, it's enjoyable. You don't need to watch it again. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
But so Venom 3 just came out, and
The Last Dance.
The Last Dance, yeah. And so they brought in a character from the comics who I just in like reading about him online have always thought was interesting. He's kind of like he's the creator of all the symbiotes. His name is Null.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he's like kind of like the deity of like the symbiote world. He's like he's like the creator of all like this stuff, and he's voiced by Andy Serkis.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool. Now I do, like that's the thing. I've never like been super into like I like Venom as a character. I think he's cool, but like the movies have never been all that interesting,
right?
To me, like I just haven't felt a draw to them to watch them. But like the more I watch these and the more I hear people talk about them, the more I'm like, this sounds like a fun series. Yeah. Like not incredible, but Tom Hardy just gives it his all and does weird stuff.
I do like Tom Hardy a lot.
So, yeah, I might watch this at some point. I think that in Across the Spider-Verse, the animated movie, there's a brief live action sequence that I think involves a character from the Venom movies, but I'm not sure because I haven't seen the Venom movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. My knowledge of Venom as a character and kind of the symbiotes, I know about Venom and I know about Carnage, and that's about it. And I know there's other stuff, but like, yeah, that's kind of the extent of my knowledge. So.
Yeah. So a lot of my knowledge of like all these random Marvel characters has come from. So I play the game Marvel Snap, which is like the Marvel card game app. It's a lot like it's a lot. I enjoy it. It's a really fun kind of turn based. Like these rounds take like 5 minutes tops. And it's really addicting. And there's a lot of characters on it on the card game that I've never heard of, and so I'll just go on YouTube and like, who is this character? So that's how I learned who Null was. That's not how I learned who Lady Death was, because I think I just learned it from just all the stuff around Endgame and stuff.
Yeah, Thanos, whatever.
Yeah, Thanos. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of been cool like learning about. But yeah, so that's all I know about like all that. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm tired.
That's okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, going on the Venom tangent, the most recent Spider-Man video game, just Marvel's Spider-Man 2 by Insomniac. One of the there's a bunch of villains in it, but like arguably the main villain is Venom, and there is a sequence in the game. Like a 5 to 10 minute sequence where you get to play as Venom, and it's like the coolest part of the game.
That's awesome.
Because you just like are just hulking your way around this building, jumping from floor to floor. It's like a big glass building with kind of like a big corporate building where the center is like kind of a big empty tower space, and it's all glass, and so you're like jumping through glass walls and like eating people or whatever. And
love it.
It's the coolest, most amazing sequence, and I'm so like disappointed that you can't like go back and replay that sequence, and you also can't play as Venom like in free roam in the world, which is kind of disappointing. But I think they are making a Venom game.
Oh, so good. Nice.
So there's going to be more of that at some point. So
love that.
That's cool. Yeah, Venom things. Well, that's cool. Well, that's a good transition to one of my things that I've been doing.
Yes, tell me. Do tell.
So speaking of Venom, Spider-Man. So this past week was Halloween / my birthday, and
Happy birth.
Thank you. I'm 29.
29.
Yeah. Gracie's laughing through her fried rice.
Her ultimate fried rice.
I just so this wasn't something I was planning on. Like, this just so happened to be on my birthday. Here in Austin at the Long Center, they did a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse live in concert. They just happened to be on Halloween, and I found out about this months ago. I was like, oh, I'm doing that. I'm 100% doing that. So I bought my tickets forever ago, and me and a friend went this past Thursday on Halloween night, and it was maybe my favorite concert experience I've ever had. It was
that is
incredible.
High praise.
Yeah. So first of all, Sam, have you seen Across the Spider-Verse yet?
No, I don't know how.
It's amazing. It is. So I talked about it a little bit.
Grace.
Yeah. Gracie's doing the hand, the how dare you? What the heck, Sam?
The Italian hand gesture.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah, we're not Italian, Grace. You're not allowed to do that.
Oh well.
That's politically incorrect. You can't do that.
Oh well, too late.
Wow.
We are nothing if not politically correct on limited content.
Grace, I'm canceling you.
No.
Dang.
Title of this episode: Gracie gets canceled.
No.
We'll see it. It's on the list. It's on the short list.
I'll ask
Anyway,
my
them's the breaks,
Italian
Grace.
roommate if I have permission, if I have to pass.
Oh yeah, your Italian roommate has
Roommate, yeah.
yeah, and they get to decide for all Italians whether or not you're
That's how it's-
allowed to be canceled.
If that's how ethnicities work, one person gets to speak for all of them. Maybe you can just sum them all up in one person.
You got it. That's definitely the case.
Yeah, good old generalizations and whatnot.
Yeah, so Across the Spider-Verse, amazing movie. I talked about it when I first saw it on the podcast, and I expressed I think the way I described it was, this movie was so good that even though it ended on a cliffhanger and was actually a part one of a 2-part thing, and I didn't know that going in, and I was so mad at the end, I still came away from it being like, this is probably in my top 5 movies of all time. It's that good. It's so good. It's one of the most beautiful, visually inventive, well animated, well paced, character driven superhero stories. And it's so creative and so funny, it's so good. It's so good.
Love it.
It's amazing. And it's also got a very good soundtrack. And it's a combination of like the first movie. It's a combination of traditional orchestral score stuff, but also hip hop and rock inspired stuff thrown in there.
Love that.
Along with a bunch of actual licensed hip hop tracks. I think Metro Boomin and Post Malone did some music for the first one, and yeah. So the soundtracks to these movies are very good, and so I went to Across the Spider-Verse live in concert, which is it's a screening of the entire movie with the music being played by an orchestra, and also I think there's an electric guitarist and a bassist and a guy with a full drum set and also a DJ scratch artist. And
that's cool.
There's cool lighting, and because it was Halloween, they encouraged people to come dressed up in their Halloween costumes.
Did you?
And so there was. I did not.
Lame.
I didn't have a costume this year. I haven't had a costume in several years. I feel like. I don't know. I think part of it is that it's my birthday and I have other things on my mind.
That's real.
But
yeah,
I do want to dress up at some point again. Someday.
I hadn't done Halloween costumes in a while until I had a kid. And I'm like, oh, now we got to.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. That's your in.
It is my in.
Other than just deciding who if you want to, you can just do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was cool. It was an all ages thing. There were adults and kids and families and couples, and it was awesome. I saw two separate couples who both did Ratatouille couples costumes.
What?
Where the guy was a chef and the girl was a rat.
Beautiful.
It was great. And my friend Noah, who came with me, was dressed in his Halloween costume, he was an Organization 13 member from Kingdom Hearts.
What?
Who had, he had the hood and the weird kind of silver jewelry hanging, and
I love
and the gloves. Yeah, so that was cool. Anyway, the concert was amazing. It was a screening of the whole movie, where they played, all the music that wasn't like licensed music. They played all the orchestral and instrumental stuff, and it was amazing. It was incredible. It was like, if you've seen this movie, you know how like musically driven a lot of the sequences are. Like the opening sequence to the movie on the soundtrack, it's called "Start a Band," is the name of the track, because it's like, it is essentially Gwen Stacy kind of narrating over her, like, this is who I am. I'm Gwen Stacy. I was bitten by a spider. My friend was Peter, and then he died. And all her backstory as Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
But she's narrating that while playing drums, because she's like in a band practice for her band, and she plays drums. And so it's like a slow, starts like kind of slower and quieter, and then picks up over time, and kind of crescendos, and then it gives me chills. And hearing that performed live by a whole orchestra and also a guy like on a drum set, and just seeing him go ham on it, it was so good. It was incredible. Yeah, that movie's amazing, and the musicians were all great, and the just the concert going environment was so it's great seeing a movie when you're in a group of people who are all there because they love the movie already, as opposed to when you're seeing it in the theaters for the first time. Everybody's kind of most people are going to be there, if not everybody's there for the first time seeing this movie, and hoping to like it, but you don't know. Whereas now, after this movie's been out for over a year, we've got a whole an auditorium. That's not the right word. It's a performance hall. It's a concert hall full of people who have seen this movie and love this movie. And before they started the screening, the conductor was like, welcome to this live experience. We want you to, make noise and have fun. This is an experience about having fun and celebrating this movie and celebrating these characters and this music. So if you see a character on screen that you love, then, clap and cheer for them. And if you get excited, hoot and holler and clap, and so it was great.
I love that they gave permission to do that.
Yes, yeah. They were like, I like that they set the tone, because otherwise there would be sort of a some people would want to do it and other people would shut up, we're trying to watch. But
it's like, no, I like that
this
is the vibe, we're doing
the
it.
ground rules are this is a party. We're here to party, basically.
Good. I love that.
And it was excellent. And so every time a new major character showed up on screen, a huge portion of the audience would applaud and cheer, oh my god, it's such and such Spider-Man, or what, because there's 800 million Spider-Man, because that's the premise of these movies. But
it's a whole Spider-Verse. It's a verse of spiders.
And we're going across it.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's one of my favorite sequences in that movie. This isn't really a spoiler, but it's just a fun sequence that I love. There's a Lego Spider-Man sequence that is stop motion animated. They briefly stop in a Lego universe, where you see Lego Spider-Man at the Lego Daily Bugle. And fun fact about that sequence, other than being just a nice delightful little sequence, it was animated by a kid from YouTube that has a YouTube channel where he does Lego animation.
What?
And I guess some people from Sony were like, hey, do you want to animate the Lego sequence for us? And he did. And it's just in the movie, and it's awesome.
What the heck?
Yes. This movie is such a source of joy, and it's great. They did crunch on the movie, which is a bummer. Apparently the working conditions on the making of this movie was not good. And also the follow-up movie has been struck production for months now because of all the different strikes they've been having. There was SAG, and there was the writer's strike, and now there's an animation strike going on. So who knows when we're gonna get the next movie. I hope whenever that happens that they're all fairly compensated and treated like human beings.
That feels like a low bar. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but I want them to. Yeah, I want people to be treated well.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it would be much of a big ask, but in capitalism, it is. So
evidently,
apparently. But yeah. Anyway, amazing movie.
Yep,
loved it. So good.
you talking about it being like one of your top 5 favorite movies of all time reminded me.
I know where you're going with this. I think. Yeah.
It's been a long time since a new movie has entered into like my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Godzilla Minus One is the most recent entry into my favorite movies of all time. And
Yes.
Jack, you shared the news with me that they have greenlit production for another Godzilla movie made by the same team.
Yes. Yeah. So the same director is coming back to make the next Japanese Godzilla movie. They just literally this past week they like put out an announcement on Twitter saying like, yeah, new Godzilla movie in development by the guy who made Godzilla Minus One. So get hyped.
Yes,
so
I'm
hyped.
so excited.
No joke. I think for me Godzilla Minus One also probably my top 10 movies. Like it is so good. Like we've talked about it already on this podcast plenty, but
yes,
it's so good. It's amazing. If you haven't seen Godzilla Minus One, y'all, see it unless you're like, you know, the kind of person who just doesn't like those kinds of movies or doesn't like super loud noises, because it's a very loud movie.
It's a very loud movie. Yeah, I was talking with Dad earlier this week. Like I think right after you shared the news with me about that, and I was like, he hasn't seen Godzilla Minus One yet.
Oh,
I was like, Dad,
he's gonna love it.
You would love this movie.
Yeah, this is absolutely a movie Dad would like.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, Gracie, have you seen Godzilla Minus One yet?
I have not.
Dishonor.
But
Dishonor on you.
Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
What?
What's Sam? I'm sorry.
Across the Spider-Verse.
That's different.
Yeah, both of you dishonor. Sam needs to see Spider-Verse. Gracie needs to see Godzilla, and I need to watch both of them again because they're both great.
Real
deal.
Cool. Yeah. So that's very exciting. I'm super excited for that. God, it's so good. I think this month it's finally getting a North American release on Blu-ray, so I'm gonna be buying that soon. Like, because as soon as I can, I'm gonna buy it on 4K because it's one of those movies where like I need a copy of it just to have on my shelf, just because it's so amazing and I want it. I just want it.
Indeed.
Want it. Yeah. So okay, yeah, there was that. It was my birthday. It was the big thing I did on my birthday was
Happy
I went to the
boys.
Across the Spider-Verse concert, and it was amazing. Let's see, what else did I do? I just wanted to mention I love my boots. We've talked about my boots before, but I've like fallen in love with them over the last couple weeks.
Them boots,
because
made for walking.
Them boots, yeah. We got we got a cold front a few weeks ago at this point, and it's still warm out most of the time, but it's not like unbearably hot. It is now cool enough to wear jeans is the point. Ooh. And so if I were working outside I would not wear jeans, but I work indoors, so I'm like, yeah, I can handle walking through the parking lot in jeans. That's fine. And so because of that I've started wearing my boots again, because when I was wearing shorts I didn't want to wear the boots because they didn't. Yeah, I was telling Sam, I feel like there aren't many people who can pull off wearing leather boots and shorts together, and I was like, maybe the Crocodile Hunter, and Sam was like, yeah, that's it, that's the list, that's all the people that can do it. I was like, yeah,
you mean Steve Irwin, right?
That's about it. Yeah, Steve Irwin.
Yes.
Yeah. God rest his soul. But
Indeed.
Anyway, yeah, so I've started wearing my boots again, and I wore them for like a week straight. And just they've gotten really comfortable. I've really broken them in at this point, and it feels really nice to wear them. They feel like very secure on my feet. They fit my feet really well. They're nice and comfy. They don't get too hot. It's great.
Love it.
And then at the end of that week, I was at home and I put on my tennis shoes for the first time in a week. Just like my lightweight slip-on mesh tennis shoes that I used to be the thing I wore every day. Just to go walk up the hill to do some laundry. And as soon as I slipped them on, I was like, these don't feel good. These feel gross. I don't know. It's because these are the polar opposite of my leather boots, because they're lightweight, they're slip on, they're very loose, they are very cushy because they're memory foam, and they're mesh, so they're very breathable, which makes them very comfortable. But I guess just after having those boots on for a week straight and then putting these on, I was like, these don't feel right. They feel bad. They feel actively uncomfortable and kind of gross to wear, and I couldn't. It's a weird feeling I couldn't quite describe, but it's yeah. I'm I don't want to wear anything but my boots anymore.
That's real.
Anyway, I love my boots is the point. So that's that.
Yeah.
Boots are very good. Sam, you said your the shoes you have now are like, they're like super duper cushy for because all your walking.
Yeah, I got a pair of Hokas. They're like super cushy, like running shoes. Like the sole, like the sole itself is like an inch and a half thick, and it's like all cushion. But it's still really supportive, but it's all cushion. So it's basically, I just have giant shock absorbers on my feet, and it's amazing. Because like I don't know, like I'm flat footed, and I have weird feet. And there were days before even working for the Postal Service that like I'd wake up and it would hurt my feet to stand up when I first got out of bed, because I'm old. And then it got even worse when I was working for the Postal Service and wearing bad shoes, just like really old hiking boots. And I got these Hokas, and within like 3 days of having them, my feet didn't hurt in the morning. It was
nice,
unreal.
That's great.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
My feet hurt right now because I rolled my ankle yesterday, and then walked several miles on
that's not
a rolled
good.
Ankle. Yeah, my leg is all. Tomorrow's my day off, so I'll be fine.
That's good.
Yeah, but no, it hurts to walk right now. But that's just because it's fall, and there. So what happened was I was delivering the mail, and I was walking through people's yards, because that's what you do when the mailboxes are on people's front porches. And since it's fall, there's leaves everywhere, and there was a hole in somebody's yard, and it was covered with leaves.
It was a trap.
It was a trap. Yeah. Admiral Akbar should have notified me. But
it's a trap.
He wasn't there. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, so my ankle fell in, it rolled, and I just tumbled forward and landed on I rolled my left ankle and landed on my right knee on a rock. Yeah, and my knee's all scraped up. Yeah, I dropped the mail, and it hurt. I was like, I'm going to feel that tomorrow. So I was fine for most of the rest of the day, and then I woke up this morning, and it was like, ooh, this is bad. Luckily, today was Amazon delivery day, and so it was just drive for like 2 minutes, and then walk up somebody's sidewalk and back, and then drive for another 2 minutes, walk up somebody's sidewalk and back. So there was still a decent amount of walking, but not like walking a full route kind of thing. Because walking a full route,
constant, yeah,
because walking a full route can be like 12 to 15 miles. So I probably, actually, I can tell you how many miles I walked today. Let's see.
Technology.
Tech knowledge.
You can check it on your new phone.
I can. On my new phone. Yep, I got a new phone. It's just the new iPhone. I walked only 5.5 miles today.
Well.
But how much did I walk yesterday? I don't know. How do I tell? I can't tell. I don't know. Step count. Week. Let's see. Saturday, I walked 28,000 steps. Today, 14,000 steps. So probably 11 miles yesterday. And
gotcha.
The last 2/3 of that was on a rolled ankle, because I had 15 relays. It's kind of like a park. You park the vehicle, walk around a block, and then come back, and I had 15 of those, and I rolled my ankle on the 5th relay.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
It is a bummer. Yeah, and then it rained. I got soaked.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great.
Do you bring in like a poncho with you? Like,
I usually do. I forgot yesterday, but someone had left their rain jacket in their vehicle, so I got to use that one. So I had that going for me, but it still was like stonks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an experience recently where I was about to leave for the day to go to work, and usually, oftentimes I'll like ask my Google Assistant, like, hey, is it gonna rain today? And I did that, and it was like, no, there's only a low chance of rain today. And so I didn't grab my umbrella. I opened my door, and it was immediately raining. I was like, Google, you're bad. You're bad at that, actually. You lied to me.
Deception. Every day,
Speaking
more
of which,
lies.
we got to meet Sagarere today.
Today.
But we'll get to that later. There's more stuff to talk about before that.
Everyone's favorite Star Wars terrorist.
Yeah, that's why terrorists were on the brain, Gracie. Because we were talking about Saw Gerrera because he's a terrorist.
Actually a terrorist.
I see.
Yeah.
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 So is Grace.
No.
Grace Ford is canceled for being a terrorist.
And hating Italians.
Limited content exclusive.
Yeah.
Grace hating Italians.
Grace is racist against Italians and is a terrorist. If you learn anything in this episode.
I promise I'm a good person.
We didn't say you weren't a good person. We just said you were a
story.
terrorist and you hated Italians.
Does that mean you don't see people who are racist terrorists as bad people?
People contain multitudes,
I
Grace.
believe in second chances.
People contain multitudes. I don't look at somebody and just see the one trait and just that's them. That's what a racist does. That's what people who hate Italians do. I don't do that.
That's what a prejudiced person does.
Like Grace.
You're prejudiced against me for telling me that I'm a bad person for being a racist.
Grace. Canceled again.
No.
Again.
No.
That's twice that you've been canceled in this one episode.
No.
Okay. So anyway, back to catching up on the month's worth of things that have happened.
Yes.
I saw a movie. Speaking of very good animated movies, I saw Transformers 1.
Ooh, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's very good. It's a CG animated movie that came out this past month, and it is an origin story for the Transformers universe, basically. So it's got Chris Hemsworth playing young Optimus Prime, who before he was Optimus Prime was known as Orion Pax. And it is about the relationship between Orion Pax and I think his name is T-16, who is later becomes Megatron. So because they're like best friends when they're young, and then a thing happens and they part ways and they become mortal enemies in a sort of tragic way.
Just like the X-Men.
Just like the X-Men. Yes, exactly. Like Charles Xavier and Magneto. Yeah, so this movie is very good. It's so good. It is like I wouldn't put it up there as like it's not like top 5 movies of all time, like across the Spider-Verse level for me, but it's very good. I enjoyed it a lot. Great. This is a movie that like if I had seen it when I was like in my Transformers era as a kid, like elementary or middle school, whenever that was, I would have been obsessed with.
You would have been insufferable.
This would absolutely have been.
I'm very grateful.
Yes,
I'm very grateful.
I would have been awful. I would have been a monster.
Yeah.
How much I love this movie.
Yeah, but instead you got Star Wars Episode 3 around that time. So
yeah, and we were both into that. So we were both insufferable about that.
And we still are.
But that's why we have this podcast as an outlet, so we don't spew it onto the people around us.
Oh, I still do. It's fine. Sorry, Sarah.
Anyway, so yeah, Transformers 1. Not to be confused with Transformers Minus One. If only. God, now I really need a Godzilla Transformers crossover movie. Like, surely that must have happened like in comic book form or something already, right?
I'm sure.
Godzilla and Transformers. Like those two things just feel like they go together too well.
I feel like there was a Gundam and Godzilla crossover. Or at least that's just Pacific Rim. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Transformers 1, very good movie. Very like visually really gorgeous. I like the way that they designed the characters and that like they look, robotic and complex, but like simple enough that they still look like toys. It's kind of the most like toy-like looking Transformers we've gotten on screen.
It's because they're also young. They're all childlike. They all look like toys.
They're all childlike and they're toy people. Yeah. But yeah, it all takes place on the planet Cybertron, and it looks very like visually arresting and gorgeous. The art direction's great. The animation's great. Gosh, the action sequences. There's some amazing action sequences in this movie. So the name of the city that they live on, I think it's like the capital city of Cybertron, is Iacon, and there's a race that they do like one kind of early on sequence in the movie. They participate in a race called the Icon 5 or something. You're kind of like the Indy 500. It's a race for but an icon, and it's a bunch of Transformers racing around the city, and it's a super cool, amazing action sequence, and there's just amazing like combat stuff, and just so much cool stuff. It's just a really good movie. I don't really have much to say about it other than it's a really good movie. There's also a really neat, really cool voice cast. So like I said, Chris Hemsworth is Optimus Prime / Orion Pax, and I think Brian Tyree Henry is Megatron / T16. Scarlett Johansson is I don't remember her name in this, but she's RC. She's the Transformer RC, who's like the sort of the most well-known like female Transformer. She turns into like a motorcycle. Anyway, so she was good in that. And Bumblebee is or B something. Again, these are like these characters before they had their like names we know them by. So I'm like they're all like just random letters and numbers in strange combinations. So I'm like I can't remember what they're called. But anyway, Bumblebee or whatever his name is played by Keegan-Michael Key.
Oh, fun.
Yes, and there's a Key and Peele reference in the movie where like basically when they first meet Bumblebee, he's like this sort of hyperactive loser who was kind of exiled to a lower level of Cybertron, and he just kind of like sits by himself like next to a trash compactor, and that's his job. And so he's kind of gone a little bit crazy, and he's built these like fake robots to kind of sit next to him to like pretend to be his friends. And one of his friends he names Aatron. Like Aaron from the substitute teacher sketch in Key and Peele. That was good. And then I feel like there's probably like a lot of other celebrity voices in there. Lawrence Fishburne plays one of the fallen primes. So he's like he's kind of like the most important sort of lore giver character. He's kind of like wise old man.
Is it Morpheus
but also
Prime?
He's a badass warrior transformer who turns into like a panther. And he's so cool. He's amazing. Anyway,
is
he's purple and he's got a big cape.
Is his name Morpheus Prime?
He's not, unfortunately. I don't remember what its name is.
A little too on the nose.
Something else.
Who else would be great?
A little bit, yeah. No. And the cool thing about this is like if you're already into Transformers lore, which I knew a little bit about, but my understanding, like I've gone a little bit more down the Transformers rabbit hole since this movie came out. And what I like about it is that so much of this movie is like building on pre-established Transformers lore from the other TV shows and comics and the toy lines and stuff. So like the idea of Optimus Prime being Orion Pax, like that's an old thing. That's like since like the original Transformers show, I think like there was mention of him being Orion Pax. And so it's all like kind of the movie that a lot of people have wanted from Transformers for a long time. Like we got the live action Michael Bay Transformers, but they A, they're Michael Bay movies, so they're not for everyone, and sure. B, they play pretty fast and loose with the canon, So whereas this is it's very much a Transformers movie for like diehard Transformers fans.
Yeah. But
it's also good for just it's a good movie in general. But like if you're a Transformers fan and you're like into like the details of the lore and stuff, it's super fun. It's great. And then there's one other like celebrity cameo I want to say. What's his name? Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi plays Starscream.
That's great. Amazing.
Perfect casting.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Yeah, Starscream being Megatron's like right hand man.
Perfect.
He's like a fighter jet sort of guy. Anyway, and Soundwave is in it, which is great because Soundwave's like the coolest Transformer other than Optimus Prime. Yeah. Anyway,
is Soundwave the one that turns into a boombox, and then he also has a cassette tape Transformer?
Yes, he turns into a boombox, and he has various cassette tapes that turn into like little animal friends for him to help.
That's
like to help him fight. And he's got like a really cool like the techno robot voice, very iconic sort of
wonderful
sound. Which is great. Anyway, so I went down after watching that movie. Like I've been for a while. I've wanted like to have a I've been thinking about Transformers a bit in recent months, and it kind of occurred to me like, man, I miss Transformers and I want a Transformer. I don't like have a desire to like collect Transformers necessarily, but I would like just a really nice Optimus Prime figure. I want a good Optimus Prime to have on my shelf, because I love Transformers and I love that character so much.
Yeah.
And so then this movie came out and I was like, okay, now I definitely need an Optimus Prime now, because I'm all hyped up again for Transformers.
Good. Yes.
So then this past week for my birthday, my mom was like, so what do you want for your birthday? And I was like, I don't know. And so she was just like, okay, I'm going to send you some things, and if any of it you don't like, you can just send it back and exchange it or whatever. So I got some things from them, and one of them I did return in exchange, and in exchange I got an Optimus Prime. So here he is. Here's my beautiful boy.
That's the most Optimus Prime looking Optimus Prime I've ever seen.
Exactly, isn't it? Yeah. I wanted just like a really good quality, really nice, like iconic looking Optimus.
Yeah, and it's like the platonic ideal of Optimus Prime.
Exactly. Yes. For not that anybody cares, but this is Earthrise Optimus Prime. If anybody's curious about which model. It's there. Listen, there's such a rabbit hole to this. The Transformers community is dedicated. There's so many YouTube channels of people like reviewing Transformers and talking about their favorite ones, and like, different variants of the same Transformer. Like this Transformer uses the same mold as this Transformer, but it's painted different. Oh. Or like, or like, top 10 mainline Optimus Primes, or is such and such version of Bumblebee overrated? Or like, oh wow. And then the Transformers wiki is just another rabbit hole on its own. And anyway, it's a really cool fan community, honestly, and but it's very much a rabbit hole of like, I could go down there and that could consume my life, and that could be all I ever spend money on ever again. Yeah. Similar to how to like, if I wanted to, I could spend all of my money on Legos and just go bankrupt doing that.
Yes. Yeah, my brain only has room for one crazy fandom in it, and you're listening to it right now. I've got too many things.
Yeah. I'm like, there's so many. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. But anyway, just the fact that my brain is like I feel like over the last week or so, my brain has just kind of been overloaded with like I've had too many tabs open in my brain. Yeah. Like I've been trying to indulge in too many hobbies at once, and I just stress myself out about it, just because there's so many things that are on my brain. Sure. Among them being Transformers. So anyway, I'm glad I got this Optimus Prime. He's beautiful. He's gorgeous. He looks great in his truck form and in his robot form, which is important. Love it. He also came with a trailer, which is cool. So we got a little trailer for him.
Does the trailer do anything?
It is. I mean, you can attach it to the back of him while he's in his truck form. You can pull it, and it can also open up. And you can like lay Optimus down in it, or like stand him up in it, and it's like his repair bay, basically. So that's cool. And then the back door is what holds his shield. So he's got his shield equipped right now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I see it.
Little dookie there. So, but yeah, it's gorgeous and beautiful and everything I've ever wanted. So. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for getting me this thing you didn't know you got me.
Yeah.
So that's my Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Sam.
Pause. I need to go take my allergy meds because I'm dying.
All right, I'm gonna get water.
Great. Bye, Grace.
Bye, Gracie.
This is my podcast now. What's up, everybody? My name's Grace, and today I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm saying. I've just kind of been chilling in the background. Like, this is my own personal, like, live stream happening in front of me, which is great. It's great for me. I'm chilling. Yeah. I think, man, if this were posted on, like, YouTube or something, I would tell everybody to comment the same, like, phrase or something. Just to mess with them, although Jack would find out what it is because he edits the podcast. But it would surprise Sam, and I think that would be really funny. I am nothing if not mischievous in harmless ways. I hope everybody's Hope everybody's having a good time. Hope everybody's safe and chilling. And oh, Sam's back.
Grace, did you say something?
No, I was just clearing my throat.
I'm back. We're back. We're back.
We're so back.
Yeah. I have a long list of things to like. It's been a month worth of things. And there's so much I just want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Talk to the people at home about. So, Transformers. I've been, as I said before, I've been like overloading myself with hobbies, and like it's been fun, but I feel like I need to scale back on some things, or like I just need to be choosier with what I spend my time doing, because any one of these hobbies that I'm in right now could be its own rabbit hole that I just spend all my time doing.
Yeah.
And so like Transformers is one. I'm doing a lot of like retro emulation related stuff. I've been doing 3D printing. I've been learning guitar. I've been still playing video games and podcasting. And yeah, it's like I like that I have this many hobbies, but also I need to figure out a better way to like balance it all, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's see. Retro emulation. That's an interesting thing, because I like, one thing that I've been wanting to do for a while is I want to set things up to where all of the save states and the save files for the different games that I'm emulating syncs between all my devices.
Ooh.
So like between my Steam Deck and my retro handheld and my phone and my computer and stuff. And there's an app called SyncThing, which is designed to sync files between devices over like a network. And so I went down sort of that rabbit hole to try and get that figured out, and still in the middle of that process. But one of the things I did in service of that is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, which is I networked my I ran an Ethernet cable from the router, from the modem really, in my bedroom out to my living room, so I could have wired internet access for my PC in there and for my PS5.
Nice.
Which is something that I've always thought would be nice, but I never like actually attempted or thought much about, because I was like, it's gonna be cumbersome and ugly, and it's gonna, you know, I don't want a cable like stretching across the whole apartment. And
Yeah.
but I had a friend over, because I was like, okay, well then are there any other ways I could do this? Like, you know, I thought about doing like doing it over power line, because you can get like those power line adapters where like you essentially you plug this like little Ethernet port thing, this cube, into your wall outlet, like your power, and then it like basically gives you internet access through the power lines in your house, which is better than wireless, but also it's not great. It's like it's significantly worse than doing just like an Ethernet cable, and it's also not great when you're in an apartment, because then anybody can get access to your internet, and like you know, anybody in your building theoretically.
Yeah. Wait, you say it goes through the power cables in your house?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing you can do, because basically it like the information runs at a different frequency than the power does, so you can have both of them like running at the same time, essentially.
Interesting.
But of course, there's also like there's other downsides to it too. Like, Sam's camera fell.
My whole monitor fell.
No, Sam.
I know. Because my internet's being a little laggy. I'm right here. Don't worry. Just a picture of me, not me.
He's back here, buddy. He's fine. He's good. He's
Picture
okay.
of me fell down. All is well.
I think you fell down.
Well, I did earlier, but not right now.
Yeah, so your ankle got
I
broke.
know.
It's not broke, but it's hurting.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to scoot my I was scooting my computer forward because it was in kind of like this like alcove of my desk, and you were freezing up because I think my internet. I need to do some networking, I guess. But if I can get it less walls between it and the router, is what I was trying to do. And then I knocked everything over, and now we're here.
Well, yeah, power line is an option for you if you want. You can look into that. It's literally just like you take you get a couple of these like blocks that have like Ethernet ports on them basically, and you plug them into power outlets on like either end of your house. You plug your modem into one, and then the other end becomes an Ethernet out for whatever. Wow. So it's like, and it works. And if you're in a house by yourself and it's not like an interconnected like apartment complex, then that's a reasonable option. I think the downsides, like I would say do more research into it than the 5 seconds I'm telling you about right now. But like my understanding is like if your power goes out, if your power goes out, then you won't have internet anyway, so it doesn't matter. But like other devices that are like plugged into power can theoretically interfere with your internet connection. So who knows?
Interesting.
But yeah, so I was looking to that, and it was like, so that wasn't really an option for me because I'm in an apartment. And so I was like trying to figure out what's the best option, and I had my friend Danny over to kind of test some things out, because he brought over a bunch of networking equipment just to kind of see what would work. And he was like, well, we could try just like running an Ethernet cable. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want it to like run across the whole apartment, and it's going to like be in doorways, and I don't know. But he's like, well, you could just you could run it like along the crown molding, and you could like get a flat cable and like make it white so that it blends in with the crown molding. And I was like, I guess I could do that. And so that's what I ended up doing is I got like 100-foot long flat white Ethernet cable, like a Cat 6 cable, and plugged it in at my modem, and then ran it across the floor along the wall in my bedroom, underneath my bedroom door, and then out into the hall along the crown molding, and then up around the molding on my bathroom door, and then down across the floor again, around the corner, behind my couch, and to where my entertainment center is. And you can't see it. It's like, unless you're looking very close, it's like basically invisible. I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's great. I love it. So now I have wired internet in there, which is great. So I have my old desktop PC that I've basically been using as like my living room PC. I now have hooked up as like a server of sorts. So I'm gonna use it for my server for my retro game saves, but I also got it set up as a media server. So I have have you heard of Plex, Sam? Do you know what a Plex server is?
The name sounds familiar. I have no idea what it is.
Okay, so a Plex is just a particular brand of like media server software. It's like the most popular, well-known one, and basically you can set up any like desktop or laptop computer or like a Raspberry Pi or whatever to be a server, and then you connect it to the internet or connect it to your home network, and you can access whatever media files are on that computer from anywhere. So it's kind of a roll your own Netflix or roll your own Spotify sort of situation. So if you have your own media files, your own movies, TV shows, music, if you set up a Plex server, you can have access to those things anywhere. Is the idea.
Sweet.
So I've dabbled with it before, but I've never really had a setup where it made sense for me to have like a computer dedicated to being a server that I had turned on all the time, and all that sort of stuff. But I'm now in a situation where I can theoretically do that. So I set up a Jellyfin server, which Jellyfin is basically Plex, but it's an open source project, so it's completely free.
Love that.
And very customizable and nice. So I set up a Jellyfin server, and now I can access my admittedly pretty small media library right now, but access from anywhere. So I have like a handful of movies and TV shows. At one point, somebody gave me all of Monty Python's Flying Circus in HD, and so I have that, so I can just access that from anywhere now.
Love that.
And I also have a few different versions of the Star Wars original trilogy. Ooh. So I have the Harmy's Despecialized editions of the original trilogy, and then I also just recently, like this past week, when I was setting up my media server, I was like, isn't there a newer version of like a despecialized cut of the original trilogy? And yeah, there's something called Project 4K77, and also Projects 4K80 and 4K83, which are basically fan-made 4K restorations of the original Star Wars. So like before it's another sort of form of like despecialized edition, So with all the later changes taken out, the difference with like 4K 77 and Harmy's Despecialized, which was like is probably the most popular one, or was the most popular one before 4K 77 came out. Is Harmy's Despecialized is more like it's not necessarily meant to be like precisely how it was when it first came out, but they get rid of all of the special edition changes and all those other changes, but also remaster it so that it looks as nice and watchable as possible to like modernize. The 4K 77 and its associated projects it's that in 4K, but also they're aiming to get as close to what the original theatrical experience as possible. So like it's much more like grainy, and the color grading is kind of different and varies from scene to scene, but they did it that way so that it matches exactly what it looked like. The idea is to put together a cut of the movie that looks exactly like what it would have looked like when it was first in theaters in 1977.
Yeah.
So now I have both those trilogies. I have access to both of those. So I've been wanting to, like, I don't know if I've ever actually watched Harmy's Despecialized all the way through. Maybe I have. I don't know. I feel like maybe, I don't know. Anyway, point is, I have both of those, and now I'm curious I want to watch 4K 77 at least at some point.
Yeah.
Just kind of have that different experience. That's cool. Maybe we'll watch one of the Despecialized cuts for whenever we get to A New Hope.
Maybe
we do that. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Even though it's like not technically the canon version, because there are like changes that affect the canon.
I want to do the canon version.
Yeah.
Because that's because we're doing the Star Wars timeline, and that's technically not in the timeline. That's true.
Yeah. It's not canon if you don't have McClunky in it, right? So
McClunky.
It's got to be the McClunky cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe one of these days for like a bonus, like a special or something.
Yeah.
Or like a holiday special or something, we can do a despecialized cut.
Speaking of which, we need to figure out what we're doing for our Christmas episode. Because it's November now.
True. Yes. Yeah, man. We could. I mean,
we talked about the Lego Star Wars Christmas special, but like.
Yeah, wouldn't be as fun or as exciting. I mean, fun is maybe not the right term when describing the
also
Star Wars
exciting.
Holiday Special, but yeah, exciting. Yeah, exciting in its own way, in the idea of it, not in the like execution of it, but like in the this is it's an event sort of like we're putting ourselves through this.
It's certainly a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. What would our I didn't know, man. We'll have to think about that.
Yes.
What our holiday special this year will be. Yeah. So yeah, now I've got wired internet throughout my apartment. That makes me happy. And it's a surprisingly cheap thing to do too. Like it was like I want to say like $15 for the 100-foot Ethernet cable, and then another $15 for an Ethernet switch. So like. Which is, it's the thing that you plug in at the end of the Ethernet to like split it out into a bunch of different Ethernet ports, so you can plug in multiple things to that one connection. So that's been another one of my hobbies. 3D printing, I've gotten a little bit back into, because there was a while where I was just like struggling with some like getting my 3D printer calibrated correctly, and anyway, I managed to get things kind of back in working order properly, and I 3D printed a few things. One that Sam and Gracie both already know about is there are these cool like print in place swords that you can download from online, where like it prints as like a handle, but also a bunch of like concentric tubes, and then you once it's done printing, you just pick it up off of the print bed and you flick it out, and it's like one of those old lightsabers that you flick out to extend them. So I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And so I printed one of those that looks like it looks like a Lego lightsaber. So it looks like a life-size version of the little like Lego lightsaber hilt thing that they give Lego minifigures. And it looks great. the thing is, it's just not functional because I didn't calibrate my printer correctly. Like the thing is with these like print in place swords is you have to like calibrate your printer pretty precisely, and I just forgot to do that. And so it's just like I just have the lightsaber itself, like the hilt. And it's like it looks cool. It's a cool thing to sit on my shelf next to my. It sits next to all my Star Wars Legos, and it's a cool little thing. But it's I'll have to go back to it again and try again later with some more effort if I want to do that. And the other thing I printed recently was this thing I've been messing with through the whole recording, which is I have a little fidget cube. So it's like an infinity cube thing.
It's a cube.
You know, it's like 8 cubes connected together in such a way that you can like rotate them around each other infinitely. I remember Mom made us some pillows, like version of this when we were a kid. That was fun. And I found one of these that somebody made and put it online as a 3D printer file. And it's a print in place thing. So again, I just like set up the print, and then, you know, it took, I don't know, like 8 hours maybe. And then I woke up the next day and just picked it up off the print bed. And like, you know, I had to kind of go through the rotation a few times to kind of get it like actually moving, because it was really stiff at first, but after a while it loosened up, and it feels great. And like each side of each cube has a different texture, and so it's like my new favorite like fidget. So
nice.
It's great. It's excellent. So 3D printing. Alan Wake. We talked some about Alan Wake before, about how I had restarted my playthrough of that because of the spooky season, and because Alan Wake 2 was going to be coming out on physical editions for the first time this past month. And so I played through all of Alan Wake and its DLC with some friends, and that was fun. And now we're playing through Alan Wake 2 finally, and I have my physical edition of that, and it's very good.
Nice.
It is such an upgrade in every single way from the original game. Visually, it's one of the most gorgeous games I've ever played, like both in terms of art direction and color and lighting, but also in terms of just like technical fidelity. Like the way that how good these characters look now is incredible. Like they have actual live action sequences in this game.
Oh, wow.
Which they did in the original Alan Wake as well. They did a little bit of that, but now it's like there are times when it's indistinguishable, when you can't tell, like, was this something that was recorded in live action with these actors, or is this the digital versions of those actors in the game engine? It's like, it's incredible. It's amazing.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so I'm working my way through that slowly. It's very cool. There's like, so the Alan Wake 2, you play as 2 different characters, actually. You play as Alan, and he's like stuck in basically the Upside Down from Stranger Things, but you know, this universe's version of that.
Yeah.
So he's like basically trapped in like an upside down version of New York City, and fighting like darkness monsters and stuff. And then meanwhile, in the real world, you play as this FBI agent, Saga Anderson, who is going through Bright Falls, which is the town from the first game where all the events of the first game took place, and kind of investigating this cult and these murders, and it's very cool. There's a lot of really cool, like, just it's super weird and fun and beautiful, and I'm loving it so far. And I think the coolest like thing mechanically about these games so far is that both Saga and Alan have like a mind palace that you can go to at any time. So basically at any point during the game, there, you press a button and you suddenly appear in that person's mind palace. So for Saga, it's like she kind of goes back to a version of the motel room that she's staying in, and there's like a wall where you can like set up little like as you play through the game, you get different like ideas and pieces of evidence and photos, and you put them up on the wall in her mind palace and connect them together using like a red string and stuff. And so like it's like you're exploring the world and doing like, you know, action game stuff and horror game stuff, but you're also doing detective work and like in your mind palace constructing this web of like, okay, how do we, you know, connecting ideas together and investigating this mystery. It's very cool. And then Alan has a similar thing where his mind palace is like the top floor of this cabin that he stayed in when he was in Bright Falls, and he basically, instead of having like a detective wall, he has a chalkboard essentially that he uses for plotting out things. And his kind of like superpower almost is that he has the ability to change reality by writing stories. And so you unlock, as you like enter different locations and find different, like meet new people or are introduced to new ideas, you can then like combine different ideas with different locations to change the way those locations actually appear in his reality. And so you like go into your mind palace and say, like, I want to combine this concept, which is like the cult, for example, with this room in this train station that I'm in. And then you go back into the real world and suddenly it all changes. And there's like, oh, there's a new path that's opened for you because the story changed. And so reality changed. And it's very interesting. It's super cool.
That's wild.
It's a little hard to describe verbally, but it's very cool. It's super fun. So Alan Wake 2, super mind-bendy, super beautiful, super fun. Very cool. And it looks like Gracie has to head out.
Yep.
For
Alas,
the night.
I must work on homework a little bit more.
Dang. Don't let the man keep you down, Gracie.
Listen, I'm trying. Alas, I want to get a degree.
Lame.
Thanks for letting me crash your
All right. Thanks for joining us, Gracie. Yeah, thanks for being our mostly silent guest. It was fun having you. It's always fun having you around.
Yeah.
So.
Yay.
Yeah, our half the podcast live studio audience of one.
Yeah.
Grace Ford. All right, love you, Gracie. Have a good night.
Love you. Good night.
Bye, everybody. All right. And then so Alan Wake. One thing I told Sam about this already, but I want to talk about it a little bit here is so in the Alan Wake universe. So Alan Wake is made by a game studio called Remedy. Remedy Entertainment. They're based in Finland. Before these games, they were known mostly for making the Max Payne series. But after they were done with Max Payne, they moved on and they made Alan Wake in 2011, I want to say. 2010, 2011, something like that. And since then, they have been making... All their games have been taking place in kind of the same shared fictional universe, and there have been like kind of small connections between them. So they made Alan Wake. They made Alan Wake's American Nightmare, which was kind of like a standalone DLC, like kind of sequel to the first game.
Yeah.
They made Control, which came out several years ago. It was takes place in the same universe but with different characters. It's like a more of an action focused game that takes place in the Federal Bureau of Control, which is like, if you know what SCP is.
I don't.
Okay, well, that's another rabbit hole, so maybe we won't go down that route. But it basically, it's like a secret branch of the federal government dedicated to investigating paranormal things, essentially. It's very cool. Control was a very good game. They also made a game called Quantum Break that was that's the one I know the least about, but I know it takes place in the same universe, and it was like kind of an interesting experimental thing where like it was half video game, half TV show, and like as you went through the game, you would unlock new episodes of this show to watch, and it was like the actors in the show were also the actors in the game, and
fascinating.
Anyway, so then Alan Wake 2 came out, and that's the latest one. And they're going to be making more games, but like as it's gone further on, especially the last couple games, there's been more and more connections between all of their games. So it's become this sort of shared universe thing. The Remedy universe has been very, very cool.
Yeah.
The reason I bring it up is because in this universe there is a fictional band called Old Gods of Asgard.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, in Alan Wake 1, you meet these two old guys. Like in basically like a retirement home, like an assisted living retirement home for like aging artists. And you meet these two guys and you find out that they were members of a band called Old Gods of Asgard that were like basically a really successful like touring prog rock band in the 70s. And now they're retired and kind of forgotten. But one of their songs ends up being like a central like plot point in Alan Wake 1 because it like gives you the solution to a puzzle essentially. Before I played Alan Wake, I played Control, and there's a sequence in Control which is, if you've played all the way through Control, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the ashtray maze sequence. It's one of the coolest sequences in any game I've ever played. But it's essentially an action sequence set to a song, like a prog rock song, and that song is by the band Old Gods of Asgard. And so then when I met the Old Gods of Asgard in Alan Wake, I was like, wait, is this the band from Control? Are they the ones who did that song? And yeah, so it's the same band.
That's cool.
Which is amazing. And then in Alan Wake 2, I've not gotten to this point yet, but I'm told that there is a musical number in Alan Wake 2 set to an Old Gods of Asgard song. So I'm very excited for that.
Nice.
And this band is really good, and Old Gods of Asgard is in reality, it is like the pseudonym for an actual band that exists in reality called Poets of the Fall. They're like a Finnish like prog rock band, basically. And they're very good. And so I've like gotten into listening to both of them, to this band, both versions of them, because they're both genuinely really good rock bands, like prog rock music. It's like totally up my alley. And they have this band, Poets of the Fall, has released multiple like at least half a dozen studio albums as Poets of the Fall, but they've also released a greatest hits album as Old Gods of Asgard, and you can get it on vinyl, and it like contains a bunch of songs from the games that they've done music for. That's awesome. In the games themselves. It's awesome. So yeah, one of my new favorite bands is a fictional band, but also a real band, and they're great.
Love that.
Amazing. God, I am doing a lot of talking about random things. I'm sorry for keeping us up late.
It's all good. You're the one who's got to edit it, not me.
True. Yeah. Anyway. So, last thing I wanted to talk about before we move on to like actual Star Wars things.
Doing a Star War. There's another game that came out recently. Sonic X Shadow Generations. Pause.
Sorry.
This is a part of our recurring sub podcast. Got a podcast.
Got a podcast. Yes, you're right. I'm so sorry. What was I thinking?
I don't know. That's why I'm here.
This is the latest installment of our sub podcast, Got a Podcast, where we talk about Sonic the Hedgehog sometimes.
Yes.
So some Sonic the Hedgehog things have happened since the last we spoke. They came out with a trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie that's coming out in December. I don't know how new it is at this point.
I don't know if I've seen it.
But yeah, it's. Have you seen it's the trailer with Shadow in it?
I don't think I have.
That? Okay, well then, do you want to watch it right now?
Let's do it. I work 60 hours a week. I don't see things anymore.
Cool. Well, let me bring up YouTube and we can watch this trailer together. This came out like maybe a month or two ago, but it's incredible. So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's the third installment in this movie series that's been very good, like shockingly good, and it looks like this one's going to be the best one, honestly. It's got Keanu Reeves as Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh my god. All right, you ready, Sam?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Sonic, you finally found your family.
Try to keep up.
I know it hasn't always been easy, but you didn't change who you are in here.
Yeah, in my lungs.
Or your heart.
There's been a high-level security breach. And we need Team Sonic's immediate assistance. Project Shadow is far beyond anything we've ever encountered.
Shadow's story began a lot like your Sonic. But where you found family and friends, Shadow found only pain and loss.
All right, we got a rogue alien on the loose. How do we find it?
Start with a giant fireball?
I love it. Let's start with a giant fireball.
He is much more impressive than the Hedgehog I fought previously.
Dude, I'm standing right here.
You're a colorful bunch.
We don't want to fight you.
Actually, Sonic, I would like to fight.
No, no! My turn. Can we just talk about this? He's too powerful. Sonic! I can't believe I'm saying this, but we need you-know-who.
This is a bad idea.
When has that ever stopped me?
Doctor!
We have visitors.
This is sad, Robotnik. Even for you.
We need your help.
On one condition. Let's do this! If I can't rule the world, I might as well save it! I need room.
But, sir, I don't have the proper materials. Found some.
When we're done, there won't be anything left.
Hey, no cheat code! What did you do?
What I had to. Welcome home, my boy. It's impossible.
Is it?
It couldn't be.
Couldn't it?
I am.
Are you?
In the saggy flesh.
That looks fun.
So, yeah, it looks so fun, and they nailed the look of Shadow. And
Yes.
Keanu is he's not Hayden Christensen, but he's perfect casting. And
Could he be perfect casting if it's not Hayden Christensen?
he's almost perfect casting.
There it is. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is. I'm very excited for this. It's. If you had told me like just 10 years ago, like we're going to be getting 3 Sonic movies, and Idris Elba will be playing Knuckles, and Jim Carrey will be playing Dr. Robotnik, and Keanu Reeves will be playing Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I would not have believed.
And the Shadow the Hedgehog movie is basically just going to be Sonic Adventure 2 Battle
Yes.
as a movie.
It's the Sonic Adventure 2 movie, essentially, yeah. Like, we saw shots of, like, him and Maria, who is,
Yeah.
I mean, in the game, is the girl who, like, dies in Shadow's tragic backstory, and it's, oh, my God, I'm so excited. It's gonna be so good.
I'm only going to be happy if Shadow gets a gun and says, damn, a lot.
Like, yeah, like in his video game Shadow the Hedgehog, where, he gets a gun. The only T for teen rated Sonic game where Shadow has various guns and he says "damn" every time he dies.
Yeah.
He's Sonic the Hedgehog at their edgiest.
Yeah. Gun and
yeah.
damn. That's it. That's all you get.
Damn. You mean Gundam? Shadow get a Gundam? Gundam?
You'd be too powerful.
Oh my God, Shadow in a Gundam. He would be too powerful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is coming out. Sega's
I
calling.
also want the robotic moon. The robotic moon with the nose.
Oh my
Death
God.
Star cannon.
If they don't, like,
I'll be so
listen,
sad.
this movie's gonna be great regardless, but I'm gonna be so sad if they don't have the big old Robotnik moon.
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be, yeah, that's, I'm so excited.
Indeed. Did Shadow make a black hole? In the trailer? It looked like Shadow made a black hole. There's definitely a black hole.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I remember that bit, but maybe.
Yeah. It looked like it.
So, yeah, so this movie's coming out in December, and it's confirmed to have some Crush 40 music in it, which is all I've ever wanted.
Will we roll around at the speed of sound?
I certainly hope so. But in the trailer, the music they're playing over like the last section of the trailer is an orchestral version of Live and Learn, which is the theme song from Sonic Adventure 2. So
beautiful.
It's in there. It's already it's yes. Anyway, so I bring that up A, because it's very exciting, and B, because Sega has been calling 2024 the year of Shadow because of this movie, and because they just came out with the latest Sonic game, which is Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is kind of 2 games in one. So it is half a modern port and remaster of the game Sonic Generations, which came out, I want to say 2011, which is a game where you play as two different versions of Sonic the Hedgehog. You play as modern Sonic and classic Sonic, and you play through a bunch of levels from throughout Sonic franchise history, from like basically every mainline game in the series. You play at least one level from it, and you play through it as, like, when you play as classic Sonic, they're like 2D side-scrolling levels like the old games, and when you play as modern Sonic, they're like over the shoulder, more 3D,
like Sonic
forward
Adventure kind of.
Yeah, closer to Sonic Adventure. Yeah. And it's one of the more beloved modern Sonic games. I don't think it's great, but it's pretty good. It's fun. You know, it's a nice kind of, like, you know, sort of tribute to the Sonic series. I think Sonic Mania did a better job of that eventually in 2018 when that came out. But Sonic Generations is still good. So that came out. But Sonic X Shadow Generations is half a modern, like, kind of remaster and port of Sonic Generations, and half a new campaign called Shadow Generations, where you play as Shadow exclusively, and it's like a bunch of whole new levels and a new story. And anyway, Sonic Team and Sega, they've had like a pretty, just in general, the Sonic games have a very rocky reputation. There's their track record for quality is not great. That, you know, most Sonic games, I would say, you know, since the classic games, have all been like somewhere between bad and pretty good, and a lot of them are just kind of mediocre. But these characters in this world are so, like, beloved that, you know, they're able to keep going just based on the strength of these characters, essentially.
And as middle schoolers, we never noticed how bad the games were.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So there's all sorts of examples of, like, I mean, like, every Sonic game has some kind of jank to it, some, like, glitchiness or, you know, messy design or whatever. But I think, as a kid, we mostly didn't notice those. Sonic the Hedgehog, the reboot that came out in 2006, which is most commonly called just Sonic 06, is infamous for being one of the buggiest and worst, like, video games ever made. It's not one of the worst video games ever made, but it is just monumentally bad in terms of how buggy it was on launch and how unfinished the game was. Basically, this was supposed to be like a big, like, this is the big HD next generation reboot of Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's basically Sonic Adventure 3, but, you know, with HD graphics. But the thing is, they rushed it out to get out in time for the holidays, and it's extremely infamously buggy and just not. It has a lot of good things going for it. Like, it has, I think, one of the best soundtracks of any Sonic game. Like, you know, that is one thing that most Sonic games consistently have, is really good music.
It's true.
And Sonic 06 is no exception to that. Yeah, and then there was also Sonic Boom came out on the Wii U, and that was kind of a similar situation to Sonic 06, where it was like another sort of reboot of the Sonic franchise that also was rushed out in time for the holidays and was super, super buggy and not good. And then just in between those releases, there have been, you know, very few games where people kind of collectively are all able to agree that, like, this is a good game. Like, Sonic Mania is probably the one that people most often go to as being like, this is a really good Sonic game. And Sonic Generations is kind of like the next up from that in terms of, like, stuff past the adventure era, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, Sonic Mania was kind of like it's a 2D kind of throwback, like, pixel art style Sonic game. It's probably my favorite Sonic game, other than, like, like just in terms of, like, sheer quality. I think it's probably the best Sonic game, because it's partly made by fans. Like, they basically hired a bunch of people who, like, used to work on Sonic fan games and working on, like, mobile ports of the classic Sonic games, and, you know, brought them together as a team to make a new Sonic game, basically like a Sonic the Hedgehog 4 kind of situation. And it's gorgeous and amazing and very good. And anyway, so then we get this year Sonic X Shadow Generations, and this is coming on the heels of a series of Sonic games that have all been, like, ranging from mediocre to pretty good. So, like, last year or the year before, the most recent, like, major installment we got was Sonic Frontiers, which was an open world Sonic game, It felt very like what if Sonic the Hedgehog met Breath of the Wild, and that it's just kind of very open, and there's lots of like little things to find in the world, and it very clearly takes inspiration from Breath of the Wild in that it's open world. It's very like, you know, grassy plains and hills and little puzzles in the environment that you can find, and just to like that are just like peppered through the world, and piano music and but like yeah, it's very wow. It's good. It's a decent game, but I think it has a lot of rough edges. It feels very, in the tradition of many Sonic games, it feels very janky. It is the game that feels most like, you know how you'll see on YouTube sometimes like, I remade Ocarina of Time in Unreal Engine, and it's like, you know, the old game, but like with like nice lighting and high resolution textures, and like, but like not an actual like well built polished game. It's just kind of like a tech demo.
Oh, this looks pretty.
That's what Sonic Frontiers felt like to me. It was and then before that we had Sonic Forces, which did not get great reviews, but was beloved by a lot of fans because it let you make your own Sonic OC, let make your own character basically, and fight alongside Sonic, which is cool. Anyway, the point is, it's been a rocky couple of decades for Sonic games.
It's been a rocky
very
the whole
hit
time.
And miss.
Awesome.
Yeah, but pretty much rocky the whole time. Yeah. Which is why. So like, going into this, we didn't really know a lot about the Shadow Generations side of the game going in. Like, they didn't really show a lot, and we didn't really know how like how long is this how big and how long is this game going to be, and is it just kind of like a quick tacked on thing, or is it like kind of a full on game, or what is it? So I've started playing it, and Shadow Generations is, for my money, the best Sonic game that's been made since the adventure games, probably.
Whoa.
It is the best. It is the most polished. It has the best gameplay, the best level design, the best pacing, the most like complex and interesting and engaging mechanics, the best in-game animation of any Sonic game ever, maybe, the most like focused, interesting story, the coolest overworld. It's all like, playing this game after having played so many other Sonic games, it makes me realize like it makes all of the other games kind of look worse in contrast, because this one is so good. It's like, oh, this is what they could have been doing this whole time if they had just been giving their teams like a good budget and enough time to make their games. And like, I think they landed on something that really works. They found a good team, and they're doing something that's like focused and interesting and trying new things, and it is so good. It is really, really good. I am blown away by it. And also, another fun thing is, as a like for the past few Sonic game releases, we've gotten like, they've basically been commissioning animation studios to make like short animated miniseries to like promote their games. So it's usually like they're like animated prequel shorts. And they did that for Shadow Generations, and I think it's Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings is the name of the little animated miniseries that they put out.
Okay.
It is so good. It is genuinely like, I hope that they give us like a whole animated series. Like, it feels like if we were given like basically a Shadow the Hedgehog anime with like a Netflix budget, it's like that.
Whoa.
It's so good. It's like, the animation's incredible, the writing is really good, the acting and the music are great, and then that's a prequel to the game. And the game, I was like, surely the game's not going to be able to live up to like this level of quality. Like, at least we got this like short film, like that was cool. But now the game is really good too. Like, what the heck?
Dang.
It's like, yeah. And then Sam, on top of all that, in December, Shadow Generations is getting DLC where you play as Movie Shadow and a new level, and Shadow is voiced by Keanu Reeves in the game.
That's awesome.
Oh my god! I'm so. This is the, like. this is best case scenario.
Yeah.
It's the best thing. This is the best Sonic thing.
I might have to go get this game tomorrow on my day off.
It's I will say I don't know how it runs on Switch because I have it on PS5 and my friend has it on Xbox One, which is last generation.
Yeah.
And it I played it at first on Xbox One and it's kind of choppy. Like the frame rate's kind of not great, but it's playable. It's certainly playable. It's not bad. It's just it's a much better experience on the PS5 running at full 60 FPS. But yeah, I would say just before you buy it, go online and see what are people saying about the Switch version in particular, just to make sure it's not unplayable.
Got it.
But
good to know.
Yeah, and so it's also interesting in contrast with I also started playing through the Sonic Generations campaign, the remastered version of the 2011 game, and it's good, but it also it's reminding me of all the things I disliked about that game, all the ways in which it just kind of felt unpolished, or there's a lot to love about it. The music is really good, and it's just you get to see all these kind of modernized, shiny new versions of all these classic Sonic levels. And you get remixes of music from throughout the series, and it's clearly a love letter to this series. But at the same time, the level design isn't great. There's a lot of typically frustrating Sonic level moments where it's oh, why was there a bottomless pit there? I didn't know I didn't know it was there, and then I fell before I saw it, and now I'm dead.
Yeah.
Stuff like that happening all the time, and I just never felt like Sonic, either classic Sonic or modern Sonic, controls that well in the game.
Yeah.
It feels kind of too slow or too fast all the time. But I'm enjoying it well enough. And then I went and started playing the Shadow campaign, and I'm oh, this is what it should have been. This is so good. This is it's a on the one hand, Sonic Generations is it's fun but not a great game, whereas Shadow the Hedgehog, Shadow Generations is not just fun as a Sonic fan, but just a fun game. It's just really good.
Nice.
It's just I like it a lot. So I'm I'm only I don't know, a few hours into the campaign. I don't know how long it is in total, but it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so good. It's so good. I'm loving it so far. So
good.
And then we get Shadow DLC with Keanu later this year.
Let's go.
It's the year of Shadow, and I could not be more excited. So, very, very, very happy. So yeah, this has been yet another installment of our sub podcast, Got a Podcast.
Ba-ding.
Sam, what's been going on in Star Wars? Now that we're done, now that we're an hour and 45 minutes into this episode.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all
I'm
good.
so sorry, everybody.
I'm not falling asleep. I'll tell you that.
Okay, that's good.
I'm getting close though. I'm sleepy.
Okay, we'll make our way through this new segment, and then the I feel like there's not a ton to talk about these episodes that we're about, so it'll be pretty easy to get through.
Saw Gerrera a lot because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except he doesn't sound like that yet, because he's not Forrest Whitaker yet.
He's not.
Yeah, he hasn't become a grizzled, insane man yet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Or
we'll get there.
Fortunately? Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for us, fortunately for the galaxy. You know, probably.
So, new and upcoming in Star Wars, apparently there was another trailer for Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. But
do you want to watch that right now real quick? Because I haven't watched it either.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, then yes. If you had watched it, I'd be just tell me about it, because I don't really care.
Yeah. Apparently it's good. I don't know much about it. I remember seeing headlines about it. Hold on. Okay, so Skeleton Crew, and this is supposed to be the final trailer, I think.
Yeah, it comes out in 3 weeks or something, right?
Yeah. Right, here we go.
What are you in for? What are you in for?
I found something buried in the woods.
Dad.
This is unacceptable. Do you understand?
What do you think it is? Don't touch anything. lost. Really lost. Stay together. We just need some directions home.
Come on, kid. Pay up. Whoa. Where'd you two find an old Republic credit?
Help!
Over here, quick. I'll get you home. We'll make a partnership. But we have to move fast. I need you to take the controls.
Okay. Neil? Neil?
A crew of murderous pirates is coming.
Something's wrong.
They're not going to just turn up. We need to find them.
We're not alone down here.
Oh, be warned of booby traps. Pirates and mountains where none dare to go.
If you hear this, don't give up. No matter what.
What are you feeling, Sam?
A lot of things, but also nothing at all.
Incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was fun. It looks fun. That is what I would give it. I'm like, this is the most like what if the Goonies but Star Wars possible.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what this is.
It's a bunch of young kids going on a weird adventure, getting caught up in things. It's kind of, it's like a kid's like wish fulfillment fantasy Star Wars of like, what if we as kids got to go on a Star Wars adventure? What if we fought like robot pirates and there were weird monsters and stuff?
Yep.
Like
the only way this show gets a 10 out of 10 for me is if Hondo Ohnaka shows up.
Honestly,
because they're space pirates. I'm like, where's Hondo?
Yes. Oh my god.
Because like Hondo with a kids show, done. You know,
that's honestly perfect. If this ends up being a Hondo show, if we get a jump scare Hondo in this,
jump scare Hondo is my favorite thing in all of Star Wars. And there's a lot of things in Star Wars. Jump scare Hondo is the best.
Getting a jump scare Hondo and Skeleton Crew would make up for all the hatred Sam has in his heart for Jude Law
specifically Jude Law. I just don't like Jude Law.
Sorry, Jude Law. If you want, you can come on the podcast and try and convince Sam that you're not a bad guy.
Yeah.
But
I don't like Jude Law the way Dr. Cox doesn't like Hugh Jackman. Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense.
It's just an inexplicable hatred. Like, there's something about his vibe.
Yeah.
He doesn't gel.
Hugh Jackman makes him angry. And I'm like, that's Jude Law with me. I'm like, I just don't like you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jude Law, the young pope?
Yeah. Yes.
Jude Law, young Albus Dumbledore. Jude Law, guy from Gattaca.
Yeah. I always forget he's in Gattaca.
Yeah. That's the first thing I think of whenever I see Jude Law. He's like, oh, he was in Gattaca.
Here's the thing. I saw Gattaca. I think I've told this, but like, I saw Gattaca before I knew who Jude Law was. And Gattaca was just a profoundly weird movie that I don't know if I like. And
I need to rewatch that movie because I think I just watched it the one time for biology class in high school.
Yep.
Right.
Same.
Yeah. So I remember. I think I liked it. Yeah.
It was definitely a movie. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's indeed it was. So that's Skeleton Crew. Comes out December 3rd. So just a month from today, actually.
Whoa.
With a 2-episode premiere, and that's that. I'm excited to see. I'm not like, I don't have a ton of like expectations for this, so it's fun going into a new Star Wars thing without like having a lot of preconceived notions or like having a lot of hopes attached to it.
Sure.
Just being like, I'm gonna go into this and enjoy it for what it is.
Right. Like, I'm definitely gonna watch it. Like,
yeah.
Nothing's gonna stop me from watching this movie or this show. Will I enjoy it?
Will I harbor an intense hatred for Jude Law in my heart the whole time? Yes. But oh my god. So yeah, that's the, I guess the most like exciting upcoming Star Wars thing, the soonest upcoming Star Wars thing at least. And then a thing that I haven't watched yet, but I want to, is a documentary that just came out on Disney Plus this week called Music by John Williams.
Oh, that's out.
Have you heard about this, Sam?
Yeah, I heard about it, but I didn't realize it was already out.
It just came out like this past week, this past weekend, something like that. So I definitely am going to watch that at some point and hopefully talk about it at some point in the podcast, because I love me a good documentary. I love John Williams, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah. Also, there's a bunch of like documentaries on Disney Plus I need to watch. Like I still need to watch the ILM documentary.
That was so
I need to
good.
watch I need to watch that one. And I need to watch the like Imagineering documentary.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I watched
There's
it
a bunch of stuff
last year. Mom came up to Kansas, or 2 years ago. Yeah, Mom came up to Kansas City to hang out for a little bit. Just kind of help out with Marion and stuff. And we stayed up late a few nights in a row and watched it. And it was really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's cool. Like the ILM show documentary is like one of those things that like I see it and I think that's 100% up my alley. Like I really want to watch this.
You just need to like carve out like a day to do it.
I just haven't watched it yet. I've just been, it's like I'm like this. I am 99% certain I will love this, but there's not anything about it that's like tugged me to want to watch it right now.
Yeah.
There's not like a hype associated with it, even though I know I'm gonna love it.
Yeah.
But the thing that keeps reminding me about that is I'm signed up for like the Mondo newsletter. Mondo being the company that like puts out posters and vinyl of various movies and things, and like vinyl soundtracks. That's the main reason I follow them, is because they put out a lot of really good, high quality vinyl soundtracks from lots of stuff. And one of them that I keep seeing is they have a vinyl soundtrack for the ILM documentary. And the vinyl itself looks gorgeous. It's like a shiny, kind of translucent black vinyl with like specks of like silvery white in it, so it almost looks like a Starfield sort of situation.
Oh, I like that.
It's very cool. Yeah, it's like it looks almost like you're going into hyperspace a little bit.
Yes.
So that's been on. Like every time I see that, I'm like, oh, I want that. Oh, but I should probably watch the show first. Like
the show is good,
and hear the soundtrack. But anyway,
I don't particularly remember the soundtrack, but I mean, the whole. I do remember everything about it was great. So. That includes what my ears were perceiving.
Yes. So that's on my list of things. That and the John Williams thing that just came out. One last bit of Star Wars news that happened in between the last time we recorded in this. Speaking of Transformers, they do you remember back in the day when we were kids? There was a short-lived series of Transformers toys that were all Star Wars themed.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had one or two of them, I think. So there was like you could get Luke Skywalker, or you could get basically an X-Wing that turns into like a Transformers version of Luke. You could get, you could get a TIE Fighter that turns into Vader, and then you could get Han Solo and Chewbacca that like are the front and back of the Millennium Falcon, so you needed both of them in order to like make the Millennium Falcon, basically.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. This past like within the past month, because I've been down the Transformers rabbit hole, I've started like getting like suggested articles on Google of like Transformers related stuff and also Star Wars related stuff, because of course.
Yes.
And they have announced that they're doing another one of those, another like one of that series of figures for the first time in like decades or however long it's been, and it's going to be Din Djarin's N1 Starfighter that turns into him.
Ooh.
And it looks so cool, and I'm absolutely getting it when it comes out.
Yes.
Because that is a unique intersection of my interests. That is
very much.
Yeah, it's right there. It's there for me.
That's true.
So yeah, that's exciting. I think Optimus and I think it's time to move on to our main segment. What do you think?
I agree.
Is it Rex? I can't tell.
Well, it says 501st. It's a random 501st Trooper.
Okay. Thanks, Lego 501st Trooper. Yep. Oh, that is one other thing, actually. Sam got me something for my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Sam very generously got me a Lego Star Wars Advent calendar for my birthday. So whenever Advent starts, I will have one little Lego Star Wars thing to unwrap each day. It'll be like a minifigure or like a really tiny little Lego Star Wars Lego set. I'm very excited about that. Yeah. That makes me very happy. Because I remember seeing that like at Target and being like, that's really cool. I might get that for myself, maybe. But then Sam got it for me.
Yeah.
So thank you
as
very
soon
much,
as
Sam.
I saw it, I was like, I need to get that for Jack for his birthday.
Excellent. My birthday.
Your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was 29.
29? Hey, you know what we should do?
What?
We should do the 2 episodes that we watched today.
Whoa! You're right. And we're only an hour and 56 minutes into this episode of the podcast. We've had a lot of stuff to catch up on.
Indeed.
So, mostly me babbling about random stuff that nobody cares about. But, that's what this podcast is for, right?
I care, Jack.
Thank you, Sam. Oh, here's the thing that Mom and Dad got me.
Toast. A toast light.
One of these Mom and Dad got me is this. It's a little piece of bread with a smiley face inside a little plastic toaster, and it says toast on it, in case you weren't aware that this was toast. And it's got a little switch on the side that you flick it, and the bread lights up, and it's a nice little glowy little toast nightlight boy.
That is fun.
And see a little smiley face.
There's a smiley face. He's smiling all right.
Yep. It charges via USB-C too, which is nice. So I always love seeing that. I always love seeing anytime I don't have to use their proprietary charger or break out a micro USB cable. Always appreciate that.
Yep.
Well, all right. Without further ado, with dear God, please no more further ado. It's time to move on to our main segment. Sam, where does this? Well, first of all, this week we're talking about the Clone Wars Season 5, Episodes 2 and 3, A War on Two Fronts, and Frontrunners. Sam, where do these episodes take place in the Star Wars timeline?
20 BBY.
Whoa, 20. Cool. We're in Season 5 now, Sam.
We are.
That's nuts to me.
We're doing it.
I remember starting this podcast and thinking, man, I can't wait for us to talk about Season 5 of Clone Wars, because so many of my favorite Star Wars things are in Season 5. But that's going to be eons from now. And now we're there. How did that happen? How did we get there? That's not... Yeah.
We're doing it.
This content's supposed to be unlimited, Sam. What is that? Could it be that maybe this content isn't quite as unlimited as we previously thought?
You shut your mouth.
Okay, I will. No more podcasts, sorry.
Anyway, first episode of this 4-episode arc, we're watching episodes 1 and 2 of this arc, is titled A War on Two Fronts. And the moral of this episode is fear is a malleable weapon.
Fear is the mind killer. No, sorry, that's a different sci-fi thing. Sorry, never mind.
Impenetrable defense. Separatist takeover complete. Another Republic planet has fallen. Onderon has ceded to the Confederacy of Independent Systems under the rule of a new king. However, a small band of rebels have taken refuge deep within the vast and savage wilderness. From an abandoned outpost, they plot to take back the heavily fortified capital city of Isis. Or Aziz. They said ISIS in the show.
They say ISIS, but it's spelled IZ.
Yeah, terrorists, ISIS. Anyway, and end.
Don't go there.
And end. That's all I thought about. Is
Sam's. Now I'm canceling Sam now.
I'm terrorism on the brain. Anyway, contacted by the rebels of Onderon, whose ranks include Ahsoka Tano's friend Lux Bonteri. Ooh, Lux.
Hey,
a native of that world.
Potential episode title: Lux Bonteri is slightly less of a dork.
Only slightly.
Yeah, he's not annoying in this episode. He's
because he doesn't have any lines.
He has some lines, and
I know.
But the thing is, whenever he speaks, he's making sense. He's not being a weird whiny brat. He's actually doing his best to be a good leader. And I'm oh, okay. He's matured. He's not a dork anymore.
Yeah.
So anyway, potential episode title. There we go.
Yep. So, whose ranks include Ahsoka's friend Lux Bonteri, a native of that world. The Jedi High Council considers how to help them fight the Separatists. Anakin Skywalker's suggestion is to train the rebels in subversive combat tactics, thus splitting the Separatist forces' strength in a two-front confrontation. This proposal, however, is met with criticism by the Council, who fear that this would spawn the foundations of terrorism. And terror is a weapon the Jedi never wish to employ. Nevertheless, considering Anakin's arguments, the Council sees no other way of aiding the Onderonians, and so Anakin, Ahsoka, and Rex depart for Onderon, accompanied by Obi-Wan Kenobi, who wishes to keep Anakin's temper firmly on the ground in this endeavor. I love how the Council is we're never going to do a terrorism, but that's the only option I see, so I guess we're doing a terrorism today. Yeah. Oh, man.
They do make Anakin makes the excuse of we're only going to teach them techniques that are like good against droids and not like lethal against people. They do use bombs at certain points, but Anakin's like, no, it'll just be anti-droid stuff. It'll be fine. They drive tanks. They blow up a door with a tank.
Yeah, and take down the entire. Anyway, we'll get there. Following the drop-off into Onderon's wilderness, the group meets one of the rebel leaders, Stila Guerrera, and are taken to their base, where they also meet Saw Gerrera and Lux. There he is.
Lies, deceptions,
every day, more lies. The Jedi proceed to train the insurgents in effective combat techniques and teamwork. In the course of the training, a rivalry becomes apparent between Lux, who fights for the welfare of his homeworld, and Saw, who fancies himself the born leader of the rebellion. He considers Lux a weakling politician unfit for fighting, and through the training, Ahsoka becomes aware of this conflict. In addition, she becomes aware that Stila has a close personal interest in Lux. As it turns out, the Jedi drop-off did not go unnoticed. The Separatist occupation forces sent out 3 recon droids to investigate, and after locating the rebel base, a battle droid detachment is sent out to destroy them. The droids burst into the middle of a meme shooting drill, forcing the Jedi and the rebels to fight their first battle together, in which Lux and Saw succeed in taking out an enemy tank together. Following this victory, the Jedi and rebels plan a covert assault on the droids stationed in the capital city, Isis. Sneaking into the city, disguised as a group of hunters and foragers, they split up to secure vital supplies. While Anakin professes his pleasure at his suggestion in training the rebels, Obi-Wan answers with cautious enthusiasm, expressing himself with the team with the term hopeful. End of the first episode.
Yeah, so that was, the first episode feels very like kind of just introducing us to this conflict and these people. The most exciting part about this is that we beat Saw Gerrera, who of course ends up being a very important like side character for the era from like now through like the end of Rogue One, basically. Yeah, so he shows up.
He comes back after Rogue One, right? You get to see more Saw Gerrera after Rogue One, right?
He survives the his city blowing up. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
He gets exploded by the Death Star, but. Lies. Yeah, I'm sure he comes back.
Deception.
yeah. So Saw shows up in Rogue One. So like, Saw Gerrera is an interesting character because like he was created for the Clone Wars. This is his first appearance, and then
both chronologically and like in release order. This is the first time anyone ever sees Saw Gerrera.
Yes, both. Yeah, and then when they were making Rogue One, they were, making this character that was going to be played by Forrest Whitaker. I don't know if they cast him and then wrote the character, or if it was, whatever. Point is, there was this character who was kind of like this crazy terrorist guy, and they cast Forrest Whitaker as this guy. And I guess at some point during the process, they were like, I wonder if there's another character that we could like say that this guy, like, could this guy be a pre-existing character? And somebody had the idea of, this could be Saw Gerrera. So then that character became Saw Gerrera, and so then he became, because of his appearance in Rogue One, he became a much more like pivotal character in a lot of ways. Yeah. So then like after that, he showed up again in Star Wars Rebels, looking more like the Rogue One version of him. Because like by the time he's in Rogue One, he's got like, he's kind of like half robot looking. He's like clearly been through a lot. Yeah. He's scarred. He's got a thing that he like has to breathe with.
Got a big old respirator kind of thing.
Yeah. Whereas here, he's just kind of like a spry young man. He's a skinny boy.
He's a skinny boy. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. So we get him here. Then he shows up in Rogue One. And then after that, he was kind of added to a bunch of stuff in between the Clone Wars and Rogue One. So like he showed up in at least one season of Rebels, where he was played again by Forrest Whitaker, I believe. They got him to come back and voice him in animation, which is cool. And then he also had a brief appearance in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order video game. Yeah, you like team up with him at one point. You like go to a planet. Is it Kashyyyk, or is it like there just happen to be Wookiees there? I don't remember. Anyway, you do some stuff with him.
There you go. Yep.
So yeah, notable, interesting, cool character.
Indeed.
And this is his first appearance.
Yep.
And then beyond that, like we see like Lux Monteri is back, and he makes mention at one point of like, yeah, Ahsoka is the person who prevented me from joining Death Watch. She's like, it's clear that he clearly has like he's matured more, and kind of his experience going through that ordeal with Death Watch and everything, and Ahsoka being there, like kind of set him on the right path. Because the last time we saw him, he had like basically escape podded away from the ship that he and Ahsoka were on as they were leaving.
Right.
Whatever the moon is, Concordia? No, I don't know.
Yeah,
wherever they were.
Concordia.
I think it was Concordia. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those. Yeah, and now he's back doing rebel-y stuff. And he seems like less sort of hot-headed and more like he's actually here because he knows it's the right thing to be doing. And
less hot-headed, not hot-headed though.
He's still a dork in my heart, you know.
He's still
He'll
a boy.
always be. He's just a boy. Throughout these episodes, these two episodes, there's a lot of like allusions to a sort of love triangle situation between Ahsoka, Lux, and Steela, because Steela kind of has a thing for Lux, it seems like.
Yeah.
Lux doesn't really seem to like care either way.
No.
As far as like,
he's
we don't
very
really
much
see.
like, I got a job to do. You guys are nice. Yeah. And but I'm here to do a job.
Yeah.
That's kind of Lux's vibe.
Yes. He's also like, there's a lot of like on the one hand you've got I think the main like interesting character dynamic in these two episodes is on the one hand you have Saw, who is very like, we need to take action, we need to make ourselves known, we need to do a lot of damage to the separatist occupation here in Isis, so that we can make ourselves known, and we need to use a show of force. Whereas Lux is very like, no, we need to earn their trust. We need to make sure that people understand that we're fighting for them and that they feel safe. And we need to take a more delicate approach. We need to talk to them. We need to, he has a more kind of diplomatic politician sort of approach to things. And then Steela is kind of the mediating force in between them, where she's like, we can do both of those things. We can, like, I agree with both of you. We shouldn't do just one or the other. We need to like show some force, but also we need to understand that like we're fighting for people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and then she ends up being kind of becoming the leader here, essentially.
Yes.
Which works. Yeah. Unless you have anything else to talk about, I think we should move on to part 2.
Let's do it.
Ready?
Yes.
Let's do it. All right. Frontrunners. The moral of this episode is to seek something is to believe in its possibility. I like that. It's kind of neat. An impenetrable defense. Jedi form Rebel Alliance. Led by Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi have trained a band of rebels to fight the Separatists on the planet Onderon. With the help of the Jedi, the rebels escaped, captured, and infiltrated the heavily fortified city of Isis. Now our heroes have launched an armed campaign to subvert the Separatist occupation of the planet. The Jedi Council continue to observe and advise as the rebels strive to gain momentum against the Separatist forces. Despite the absence of civilian casualties, public fear has ensued as reports of the rebels' daring strikes circulate throughout the city. The Onderon rebels, under the supervision of the Jedi Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka Tano, and Clone Trooper Rex. I like that we have all 4 of those characters together. Like, basically the 4 main characters of the Clone Wars. Like, yeah, it's great. Well, this is how we start season 5. Well, I guess we don't. I mean, chronologically, it's how we start season 5. Yeah. For everybody else, they start season 5 with a Maul episode, but we skipped that because they. Anyway, chronology is weird. Timeline shit.
Second timeline.
Have begun striking at the Separatist droid forces in Isis, wrecking them in droves while taking painstaking care not to endanger innocent civilians, and inching their way closer to the Unifar temple with each step. Seeing this as a direct threat on his life and position, Sanjay Rash, the usurper king of Onderon, has his predecessor, Ramses Dendup, brought from the palace dungeons, self-indulgently accusing him of having caused this uprising. Dendup argues that this was triggered by Rash's submission to the Separatists, and that only he, as the acting king, has the power to end this by first ending the droid occupation. Meanwhile, the Jedi and Rebels gather in a safe house to discuss their strategies for the near future. While the Rebels and Anakin are confident, Obi-Wan cautions them by noting that the attacks have left the populace fearful of them, and Lux and Steela agree that the Rebels must win their people's trust first. Following this, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Rex decide to return to Coruscant and report to the Jedi High Council, while Ahsoka stays behind as an advisor and supervisor so that the Rebels will learn to continue the struggle on their own feet, albeit with further material support from the Republic. In order to win the confidence of the Onderon people, Lux suggests attacking the city's main power station in order to prevent droids from recharging and thus deal the occupation army a crippling blow. In order to obtain information for the attack, Saw ambushes a battle droid, Straggler, and takes off his head, which he downloads the defense formations at the station. After finding the defenses too heavy to risk a direct assault, the rebel leaders devise a plan to harass the droids so much that they call in for heavy reinforcements, then use a hijacked tank to blow up the facility. The rebels execute an ambush on a droid patrol inside the city, giving them just enough opportunity to request backup before they destroy the last of them. The first wave consists of 2 droidicas, but these are brought down by the combined efforts of Lux, Saw, and Steela. The next group includes the much-wanted tank, and while Steela takes out the droid escort with precise sniper fire, Lux and Saw succeed in bringing down the tank's droid crew without damaging their prize. But during their attempts to get the tank back into operation, tensions begin to ensue between Lux and Steela against Saw, who is still playing on his ego. Before the group approaches the generator, Steela and Ahsoka separate from Lux and Saw to draw away the droid guard's attention, and the tank successfully penetrates the generator's defense perimeter. Although hampered by a squad of commando droids, they succeed in destroying the generator, causing a major power outage in the city. Under the cover of darkness, the rebels begin to target every droid unit they find within the city, winning the citizens' adoration and support. During their celebration in the safe house, Ahsoka becomes once more painfully aware of the attraction that seems to arise between Lux and Steela. But Anakin, who attends the celebration along with Obi-Wan and Rex via holographic projection, both gives her moral support and reminds her to put the purpose before her personal feelings. Then the Jedi address the rebels, warning them of the retribution Count Dooku will surely let follow against them, and in order to present the Onderon people with an idol they can rally to, they propose that the rebels elect a leader from their ranks. Following a brief discussion about their plans for the immediate future, the lower rebel ranks unanimously elect Steela as their leader, much to Saw's resentment. In the meantime, a distraught Rash must give his report to Dooku, who agrees to send more and better droid reinforcements, but also a more capable general, Kalani, to deal with the uprising. End of episode 2.
We did it.
We did it. So, there's some interesting stuff in this episode. The first episode feels more like a bunch of setup, and then this episode is more like there's actual interesting things that happen.
Yes.
For one is we get to see kind of like the fruits of their all the training that they did in the first episode. Like at first, like in the first episode, Lux and Saw are very kind of at each other's throats a little bit. They're not getting along. They're butting heads, and they're not able to kind of work as a team. Whereas in this episode, we see them like, once kind of everything becomes real, I think their dedication to the cause kind of helps them work together and kind of set aside their differences, and they're very quickly working together as a good team. They take down the tank real easily, unlike they did in training. I also thought it was cool that like in training we saw Steela like struggling to get the disruptor, the little balls that they roll under the droidicas to
little EMP
to zap them. They did that whole sequence in the first episode where they were like training them to slowly roll them through the shields, because like basically the droidicas shields are like they protect against fast moving things, but stationary or slow things can get through the shield. And so the idea is that you roll the little bomb slowly enough that it makes it just under the droidica and slow enough that it goes through the shield. And Steela was never able to quite get the speed right. She was always like slightly too fast. And there's a conversation that she has with Ahsoka where she's like frustrated about it, and Ahsoka's like, "You'll get it eventually." And Steela's like, "I'm not frustrated. I just know what I'm good at."
Yeah.
And then I think that comes back in this episode when she like when there's a moment when she has to fight one of the droidicas, instead of doing it the way that they were trained to, she comes up with her own solution, which is she just runs up behind it, kind of dives, slides right next to it, and then like just sticks her hand underneath the droidica through the shield and just drops the bomb in there, as opposed to trying to roll it from afar, which I thought was really cool. Because then Ahsoka's like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody take down a droidica like that. And yeah, I thought it was a cool way of demonstrating like Steela's ingenuity and her ability to kind of find new solutions and find a middle ground and like be a good like, not just like, she's a good leader and a good fighter, and it's because she understands like different strengths, and she's able to understand like the importance of being aggressive while also having the importance of being diplomatic and kind of softer, and making sure that the Onderonians actually trust them. And then in the context of combat, she's like, I know what I'm good at. I'm good at sniping, and I'm good at kind of thinking on my feet and coming up with creative solutions, and that's what she does here. Yeah. And so I think it's really cool to kind of see the way that those things come together here. For
sure.
And yeah, I mean that was most of what happened. And then the other thing that stands out to me in retrospect is like during the celebration at the end, when Ahsoka is clearly kind of like distracted and distraught by the fact that Steela and Lux are so close, and Anakin as a hologram is like standing next to her. He's like, Ahsoka, you seem distracted. Are you okay? Yeah, he's like, she's like, yeah, I'm sorry, Master. I just can't. I'm trying to not let this distract me, but I can't. And Anakin's like, don't worry, I understand. And Ahsoka's like, you do? And Anakin's like, yeah, I do. But you gotta move past it. So this is an interesting moment of like the first time when Anakin admits in some way that he has dealt with like attachment in the same way, or in a similar way.
Which, can I just say, it's just baffling to me that no one caught on to Anakin and Padme.
I mean, we learned later that Obi-Wan basically did, like in season 7. At least by season 7 he has.
Yeah. But like, Anakin Skywalker is the least subtle person in the galaxy. How?
It's true.
How?
Maybe it's the same way that like, how were the Sith able to rise up, underneath the Jedi's noses? Because everybody's dense and stupid in the Republic. That's the lesson here, I think.
That's true. That's fair.
So, yeah, the same system that allowed the Sith to rise is also the system that meant that everybody was stupid and didn't realize that Anakin was totally in love with Padme and they had a thing.
Yeah. And by thing, you mean twins.
Yes, multiple things.
Yeah, at least 2.
At least 2 things. But yeah, this is a cool episode. I like the kind of just the. There was one other thing I wanted to say. I like the look of Isis. It's a cool looking city. It's very unique among like all the other cities we've seen in Star Wars. It doesn't look like. I think a lot of the time it's very easy for like whenever you see a town or a city in Star Wars for it to just kind of feel like this is just another generic Star Wars place.
Right.
Whereas this place on Onderon feels like it has a very particular aesthetic and culture to it.
But also
I think Mandalore
like
is another example. Yes, but it still feels very Star Wars. Exactly. I think Mandalore is another example of that. Like Mandalore is very like unique and distinct looking among all the Star Wars locations, but it still feels Star Warsy.
Yeah.
There was also the Zygerian slavers arc when they were in. I guess Zygeria would be the planet probably.
That makes sense.
That planet also like had a very distinct look to it, very kind of like Egyptian inspired. And then this planet also has another very distinct. This city in particular has a very distinct look to it, and I like that. I like that. Like, I think maybe like the further on we've gone into the Clone Wars. I mean, I think the prequels in general are pretty strong with like being able to come up with lots of different locations that all feel distinct and visually unique and interesting, while also still feeling like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the like that was one of more of the weaknesses of both the sequel trilogy and just all of kind of the Disney era stuff is that there's less of that. There's less like they lean a lot more into like, this is what people are familiar with. Let's make a Star Wars place that feels like a Star Wars place.
Yeah.
Whereas in the prequel era, in the Clone Wars, there was more of a willingness to like kind of stretch out and try different visual ideas.
Right.
I think it worked. But yeah. So that was the first 2 parts of this arc. And I'm sure it's all gonna go great, and they're gonna liberate Onderon, and nothing is gonna go wrong, and nobody's gonna die, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I don't remember this arc at all, so yeah.
Well, then we'll see, and you'll find out how right I was.
As far as
nothing
I know,
going wrong.
You're correct. But I have my suspicions. I don't know. I feel like you might be burying the lead here.
You think maybe this is a lie or a deception?
Every day, more lies.
Every day, more lies. Okay. That was these episodes.
Do you have a favorite part of the episode?
I was waiting for you to say it. Yeah. Favorite part. I feel like. I don't know. Do you have a favorite part?
Yeah.
What is it?
When Saw Gerrera pops out and snaps the head off that battle droid and runs away.
That was funny.
That was funny.
That was good. Yeah. That was great. I think I liked the. I did like the moment near the end of the second episode when Anakin kind of is talking to Ahsoka and kind of reveals like, I get what you're going through, and kind of
that was
significant. That was a significant kind of character moment, I think, for both of them. For like, we're establishing like, this is how close these people have gotten, that Anakin's like willing to let a little bit slip about that relationship that he usually plays so close to his chest.
Right.
Even if he doesn't say anything like explicitly, he just, acknowledges that this is a thing that he's dealt with before, having to deal with like feelings of attachment and the frustration that comes with that. Which is, I think, interesting because it's probably something that lots and lots of Jedi deal with and very few of them talk about. And I think that's a big problem, and B, shows kind of it's fine, I'm sure. And
could
B,
go wrong?
I think it's also just like notable that Anakin and Ahsoka are talking about it, because I think it demonstrates kind of how like wise and self-aware they are as Jedi, but not necessarily like enough in the end for Anakin, at least.
Yeah.
But like we get an understanding that like at the very least Anakin and Ahsoka have maybe spent more time thinking about this sort of thing than most Jedi allow themselves to.
Yes.
And that this is a kind of conversation that should be had, and that these are feelings that should be processed. Whereas most of the time, the Jedi just kind of tend to, whether purposefully or not, they suppress these feelings and these ideas about like attachment. They're like, no, we don't look at that. We don't talk about that because that's bad. We just don't.
Right.
We're just,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say that's my favorite moment, probably, just for those reasons. MVP. I feel like Steela?
Probably.
She's definitely like the most like competent and the most like
She's got her head.
She kind of shows the most growth in a way, too.
Yeah, for sure.
She important. Yeah. Main character kills. I don't think anybody. A bunch of droids blow up.
Droids. Yeah.
There's no deaths. Lost limbs, none. Wilhelm screams, none that I heard.
Yeah.
More Star Wars is better Star Wars. How does this episode make the movies and the rest of Star Wars better, Sam?
We get Saw Gerrera, and we get the interaction between Anakin and Ahsoka at the end of episode 2.
Agreed. Yeah. And then also just like we get to see more of Onderon as a planet and a culture through ISIS. I think that's cool. I like seeing the look of that city. It's very like unique and appealing looking to me.
For sure.
I like it. Well, that's that. That's the first half of this arc. This is a good episode. I'm glad we're getting to record again. It's been a bit.
It has been a bit.
We've been keeping in touch, but it's like, things have been going on in both our lives that have kept us both pretty busy.
Yeah.
Like with me, it's like at work, things have been very busy. Because I've had to like cover some shifts for people. So I like had 2 weekends in a row where I was working on Sunday. And also the election is about to happen. When we're recording this, the election is happening in 2 days.
Yes.
So
this is November
you will
3rd.
know. Yeah, you will know, listener, whether your democracy has collapsed in the meantime.
Yeah.
But we are still blissfully unaware.
Chances are we haven't devolved into a complete fascist authoritarian state.
Probably, unless Spotify just continues to exist under, our fascist regime.
Which
I would
is
entirely possible.
Oh,
yeah.
If anything, I still want my music.
If anything, I still want my streaming service. You know, we might have fallen into a fascist capitalist hellscape, but at least we still have
music by subscription.
Music by subscription that pays almost nothing to artists, or whatever. You take what you can get, All right. Join us next time, everybody. We'll be talking about the latter half of this arc, which is the Clone Wars Season 5, Episodes 4 and 5, The Soft War and Tipping Points. That'd be cool. I'm excited. It'd be good times.
Yes.
Oh, and then an episode after that, we'll have to reach out to Mom because she's going to be hopefully our guest on episode 57 of the podcast.
Ooh.
Yes, we talked about that a little while ago, and then things happened, and it's just been a bit since we've had the conversations. We'll have to reach out to her.
Glad you remember.
Yes, I have it in the spreadsheet.
Good.
That's why I didn't forget, because otherwise I totally would have.
My brain has been all over the place for all sorts of reasons, and I did not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good old big old spreadsheet of content.
Thank you.
Coming to our rescue again.
Content. We love you.
The real sponsor of every episode.
Yes.
Of content
is this one Excel spreadsheet.
Yes, it's our beautiful Excel spreadsheet. Gosh, 55 episodes in, we're on season 5. Sam Ford, what a time! What a crazy experience! What a life!
It's all those things. You know what else? I want to go to bed. I'm so tired.
This is a good idea. This is one of our longer episodes. Like, it's been a while since we've had an episode this long.
Yeah.
I think generally we've gotten pretty good at like cutting them down, like just in terms of like we usually don't have a ton to talk about, and we've also just gotten better at having faster conversations.
Indeed.
And so like the podcast has become more efficient in that way. So it's much less frequent that we have like 2+ hour episodes. But this time we had a lot to catch up on, and Indeed. By that I mean I had a bunch of dumb stuff I wanted to talk about.
You were so excited, and I didn't want to stop you.
But now it's time for Sam to sleep because he needs it. He deserves it for all the listening he did to my nonsense.
It wasn't all nonsense.
Join us next time, everybody. What?
It wasn't all nonsense.
I mean, it's generous of you, but come on.
Okay, love you. Good night.
Love you, everybody. May the force be with you. Vote. Actually, no. I mean, you voted already. Whether or not you voted, it's happened already. So take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And cut the chatter.
Spice.
May the force be with you. Roger, Roger.
All right, cut the chatter. Roger, Roger.